Now, if someone said to you at the start of the season that Brendan Rodgers would end up dressed in Saudi attire while holding a rifle, you'd have said you're smoking crack. But that is the story of this season. Welcome back to Fog Football. Due to popular demand, we are bringing this retrospective series back. We did it with Wilfred Nonce. We did it with Russell Martin. So we're going to do it with Brendan Rodgers. We're going to look at Brendan Rodgers' worst moments of the 25-26 season as pretty much in charge of Celtic. Now, let's be honest, right? His spell so far, well, I say so far, I don't think he'll be back for a third spell, put it that way, but in terms of this 25-26 season, his spell is nowhere near as bad as Martin or as Wilfred Nonce. Right? Couple of horrific games against Karat, losing against Dundee, losing against Hearts, a couple of other shitey draws in there, the drama with Desmond, and a few comments as well from him regarding recruitment. That's pretty much the gist of it with Rodgers. I mean, it wasn't quite losing 6 out of 8 like Nonce. It wasn't quite like Russell Martin getting chased around a car park, winning 1 game out of 7 in the league. It wasn't quite that bad. But here, due to popular demand, I've seen the comments, I've seen people wanting us to talk about Rodgers and relive it all. So let's go back to where it all began. But like I said, with Rodgers it's a bit different because it's not just all shite. When you look at Martin and Nonce, it was pretty much all shite. Yeah, there was a couple of wins in there. You know, Nonce beat Aberdeen and he beat Livy. Martin did alright in Europe until Club Brodge came along. But with Brendan Rodgers, it kind of all fell apart around about that 0-0 game at Ibrox. And, you know, well, I say that. I mean, it fell apart with the Karat games as well, of course, before that. But domestically, it was looking alright. But then, in stepped Stephen Presley. In stepped Derek McInnes. And before you knew it, this guy bricked it down the M74 into England and then somehow ended up in Saudi. So we're going to talk about it right here on this channel and relive Brendan Rodgers, Brodge Ball's finest hour in the 25-26 season. Sack the board, 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 sack the board. Aye, Celtic nil, Karat, Almaty nil. What's a worse result, folks? That? Or Rangers getting scudded 3-1 by Club Brodge? Who knows? Maybe we could put that for a poll here. But it's not time to dwell on last night. It's time to dwell on tonight. Disaster of a result for Celtic. Not quite a catastrophe. That would have been getting beat. Could have fairly easily got beat though. Karat had their chances. Actually had the ball in the back of the net. Unlike Celtic, Dyson Maeda missing a big glorious chance at the end. Adam Adea was rank rotten in this game of football. Don't ask me, ask Brendan Rodgers. He subbed them off at half time. Don't shoot the messenger. But I tell you what, man, yeah, unexpected. But like I said in the European preview show, even though this team is actually the worst ranked team that any Scottish teams took on so far this season in Europe that is professional, so Unastrasen don't count, Karat aren't coming with the mentality of a team like, you know, a Hibs, an Aberdeen, a Hearts, or a St Mirren, a Dundee United, right? Where they're so used to playing Celtic and getting dominated and battered, right? That plays into those teams in our league domestically. They have it in the back of their mind, so they just naturally set off Celtic. That Karat team, even though they're similar levels to a lot of those teams I just mentioned in our own league, rocked up the day, puffed out their chest and went, right, we're going to fight for this. And honestly, man, if you're a supporter of that team, if you're one of the 100 that travelled over for Kazakhstan, as they said, 7,000 miles or something, well, I think you'd walk 5,000 miles just to see that performance, because they laid it all in. They laid it all in that pitch and left it all out there. And I'd just like to say, yeah, fair play to them, because no one gave them a chance going into this game. I thought, you know, best case scenario for them would have been lose like 1-0, 2-0, but Celtic would have peppered them. Celtic didn't pepper them, man. You know, I think the 81st minute, I wrote down here in the notes, the both teams 7 shots each in the 81st minute. Now, I think after that, there was one point they were leading Celtic 8-7, then Maeda had his chance, but Either or, folks. Celtic fans aren't happy, chanting sack the board. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's being ungrateful, considering what the Celtic board's delivered? I mean, let me just say this before we actually get into the game. The Celtic board should have absolutely spent money, right? I can totally understand why people aren't happy with the fact they've no spent money, right? But see, at the same time, I think people got to understand this. Celtic have got a more than good enough team to advance past Karat. There's no excuses, right? Celtic did not need to go and spend 25 million this summer to get past this team, or 40 million, or whatever else is in the war chest, right? That 11, despite fielding like James Forrest, who I thought was probably the best player in the first half for Celtic, and Adam Adair, and bringing on guys like Ralston, right? And Scales ain't good enough and all that shite. That's a more than good enough team to beat this team, right? Let's not dispute it. Let's not sit here and dispute it. Minus Nicholas Kuhn, right? That team's extremely similar to a team that took Bayern Munich very close. So what's happened? Who knows? But we'll get into it. There's no excuses. Celtic should be winning tonight. You can blame the board all you want, but that tonight for me is on Brendan Rodgers and the actual players on the pitch. As much as the board will get pelters, and you know what, deservedly so. Can you honestly turn around and say that Celtic need to spend like another 40 million to beat that team tonight? Come on. People need to take the tinted specs off and realise everything's not the board's fault. Obviously it would help spending 40 million, but come on. Anyway, let's get into the game. Karat actually started really well. They get an early corner. Guy heads it off the back of Kieran Tierney. People are wanting a pen for this. Didn't really get given. I don't really know what they were seeing. Martovic, though, he puts the ball in the back of the net after he got booked. Just offside, probably about a yard offside. So yeah, Karat have the ball in the back of the net. And they are Liam Scales being 1 yard back from taking the lead at Parkhead. And who knows what the atmosphere would have been like. Jorginho, he has a shot blocked after a counter-attack. Forrest then has a shot blocked. Kalmack ended up getting booked for pulling a guy back on the counter-attack, which he just didn't need to do, but lo and behold, he did it anyway. Karat whip a ball into the box. Scales clears it. We then get Tierney and, was it Ramanov or something? Arguing with each other. Double yellows getting dished out here. I didn't think Tierney deserved one, but he got one. Johnston's hamstring or something happened, man. He went down, stretchered off. I mean, I don't think it looks season ending, but it doesn't look good. He was on crutches, so that'll be another area of the pitch that Celtic will need to strengthen in. So yeah, when somebody goes off on a stretcher, folks, it's never going to be short term. That looks like a couple of months at least. Arad has a shot just wide before the break, and that takes us to half time. It wasn't really booing at half time, but it wasn't exactly lighting the world up. Adam Adair got took off though, and Yang got brought on, in which Yang was on the left, Forrest was on the right, and Maida was through the middle. I thought Yang was really good when he initially came on. Karat couldn't really deal with him. Forrest hit the post. Nygren then got tackled in the box. This was never a penalty, but I guess there's a debate for a red, but no, it's never a red, man. I think it was a correct call. But I thought initially when it happened, they'll probably look at that and give a penalty, because you just never know with VAR these days. So yeah, Yang was looking good. Arat then has an effort, he blazes over. Carter Ficker's ball comes to him, he makes a mistake, the ball trickles out underneath him. Edmilson, who, I mean, I gotta be honest, this guy was just flapping about all night, man. It was kind of borderline embarrassing for this guy, but flapping about all night like a fish out of water. Actually decides to look up and go, I'm not going to flap about this time, and he puts it almost in the back of the net. He chips it for about 40 odd yards. It's Michael's beat, and it just hits the roof of the net, so almost in. Liam Scales then has a header over the top. Then it was from the same incident as the goalie came out, who I thought their goalie looked really good. And not that the guy that came on looked bad, but this guy got took off, looked like it was going to be a stretcher. And then at this point, this was about 70th minute, I think, something around about then. Sack the board, sack the board, sack the board, sack the board. So those chants were coming out. You know what, man? Like, I think you can be aggrieved with the Celtic board, right, for not spending money. But I think you would have to be mightily naive to not understand why they don't spend money. Right, I think if everyone's actually willing to have an adult conversation, you can see why Celtic aren't putting like 30 million into each transfer window. You can see it, and I don't care what you're saying. You if you can't see it, then I don't know what to say. And if you want to sack a board that has overseen some of the most dominant periods in club football history domestically over like the past like however long, then I don't really know what you want, man. At this point, at the 81st minute, that's when I wrote down 7 shots each in the 81st minute. Schmeichel then saved the header on the line. Unlucky for Karat. New goalie came on. He looked alright. He got busted open by Shin Yamada, and they had to like wrap something around his head. What was it? What was it they wrapped around his head? It's like one of those swimming cap things, but yeah, decent amount of blood. 10 minutes, get added on. Ball ends up falling to Dyson Maeda. He can't quite save it. Score it. Easy save for the goalie, man. And I think Dyson Maeda last season puts this in the back of the net. And you say you have to score this. You do. There's actually no excuse not to score it. I mean, this is the best player in the league, right? Chris Sutton a couple of days ago put 75 million on this guy's head. And obviously it was a wee bit of a joke, but he's saying he wouldn't even sell him for that. You have to score this. The best players. The best players in your league should be scoring this, and he didn't. We then get more sack the board chance. Kabuko, I believe, has a shot that goes wide, and then final whistle goes, boos, more sack the board chance. Celtic 0, Karat Almaty 0, and that is the game of football. And I'm sitting here thinking, what is going on? Tell you what, I did a bet. Igor Sorokin to get booked, Alexander Marinsky to get booked, Alexander Martovic to get booked, Alexander Sarutsky to get booked, and over 10 corners. It was worth £700, but I mean, how many guys are called Alexander in that team? That's incredible. But yeah, Karat can be very, very proud of what they've done tonight. But I mean, all these people joking, right, in our comment section about the Thursday night plate competition. Tell you what, folks, I think Celtic. If the same performances are replicated over in Kazakhstan, but obviously they've got the home advantage, and they're speaking about it was like 900 metres above sea level, and it's like 100 miles for the Chinese border or something along those lines. Like they're hyping it up as this like fucking crazy event that's happening next Tuesday. If Celtic don't turn up, man, they will get beat. Like that team were the better team in the first half, and spells could have they lack any proper quality, Karat, but what they do have is effort, and they applied themselves for like 100 minutes tonight, and yeah, great performance for them. But reality is, their number 9, he ended up getting booked really stupidly at the end. He just blocked a Celtic quick free kick, and I believe Chelsea have signed him for the beginning of next season, so he's 17, so there must be some hype in him. I believe he scored I think he scored in the 90 odd minutes to beat Slovan Bratislava. So yeah, folks, sack the board. Do you agree with that, or do you not? Is it acceptable? Tell you what, man, it's a crazy result. Couldn't really have asked for for an easier team in the playoff, and you draw. But here, as Celtic say on their wee Twitter page, all to play for in Kazakhstan. Not exactly what people were expecting to hear after tonight. After 210 minutes, Celtic go to penalties with Karat, and we are here to talk about it. They're going first, 0-0. I'll be honest, I think the worst tie of football I've ever seen.
3.5 hours of football, not a single goal scored.
Yeah.
Barely a chance created as well, like, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, Maeda missed a really good opportunity. Karat had an indirect free kick, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. But, yeah, I mean, a brutal game.
This isn't... Right now, see just what you can see. This isn't 2 Champions League teams.
No, yeah, I mean...
By the end of this shootout, it will be 1. But neither team here... honestly, man, I can't see... I can't see either team here. Whoever qualifies, they don't look like a team finishing the top 24.
No, absolutely not. And what I would say is, if Celtic do go through, they're going to be on the end of a few scuddings, man. Like, see how much they look like to have regressed from that Bayern Munich game. But you guys said the board aren't to blame. Well, here's Big Adam, your best pal.
Guy, the board spent $9.5 million in this guy.
They brought 20 million off the bench, folks, man. To me, it's on Rodgers and the players they don't go through.
And he's missed! Admadea's missed! I said he's shite from day one. I've been proven right. I was the first to call it. I said Admadea from day one was garbage.
Yep.
And I've been proven right.
Tell you what, man.
It's an awful penalty.
That was written in the fucking stars, wasn't it? No, good loan spell. I'm not going to fault that, but in terms of the permanent move...
Oh no, the loan spell was decent. He scored a couple of important goals in the league, which you could argue turned the tide. He tapped in the winner in the Scottish Cup final. But outside of that...
I can't believe how bad that penalty was. Fucking
Anyway,
perfect height, perfect everything for the
It's
goalie.
0-0 here. Karat's ready to take their first penalty. Can they make it 1-0?
Coefficient's on its arse here.
Referee, I don't know what he's... You know what annoys me? Why can't we just put the ball on the centre of the spot? See, that's having to put it on the fucking edge. I don't know, that's just a pet
Every
peeve of
fun.
mine.
Yeah, like the reality is
corners
is
as well.
it really going to go in like the half an inch it's closer? And to make it 1-0, off the crossbar and out.
Schmeichel's acting like he saved it. In reality, it's...
No, I tell you what.
That's
man.
embarrassing. That
How
penalty.
how can you be doing a Panenka? Let's be real, right? If there's one club that fucking need this drastically more, it's this Diddy team.
See, you should just be smashing it. You can't be doing that. That's not the time to take a fancy penalty. That's embarrassing.
No, that is, man. Honestly, that's like, if you want to if Andrea Pirlo wants to try that, then go ahead. But some Diddy man for Kazakhstan, not a chance. But here we go. Luke Mackay with the second penalty for Celtic. And it's saved again. Jeez, oh. So, right. See the next guy, you'd be like, fucking just keep it simple. Get it in. Any penalty goes in's a good penalty. Is it any surprise, right, after the last 210 minutes of your puff, the first three penalties have been saved?
We still have not seen a goal.
I wonder what's the record for the most penalties not going in. Tell you what, man. Who's this guy? Captain of Karat. Is he going to put it? Is he going to put it in the back of the net? I'll have to wait and see.
Oh, can Schmeichel make a save this time?
Tell you what, though, both those Celtic penalties. Absolutely
almost identical.
Absolutely identical. Same height, same everything. I see if this guy.
There's going to be some meltdowns here, man. If
this guy hits a Panenka off the crossbar, then I don't really know what they're doing. Right, he's just got to keep this simple and put it in the back of the net. Number 14, and it's 1-0 Karat.
Karat with the goal. Good penalty, right hand side of Schmeichel.
Tell you what, the pressure on this penalty.
Oh, this has to go in.
Yeah.
I mean, not mathematically, but I think realistically this has to go in.
Who's all the pressure on? Is Kalmak subbed off? I think he'll probably take the fifth one, won't he? Who even is the Celtic Pengels? Well, he's up next. Well, I tell you what, sir. If
Imagine
the 20 million
for the bench, it wouldn't be good.
It's written in the stars. The Karat goalie going to save it. The trump card. He's been labelled as the trump card. What's it doing? And
it's a decent penalty to be fair.
Decent penalty, absolutely. Rodgers is
Rodgers,
clapping away. One each. Karat to take it. Imagine travelling all that distance, man, just to see those two penalties. That's bogging. That is bogging.
Think Captain Kalmak will take one?
I tell you what, though.
After his PTSD against Aberdeen, or?
Well, he might but Alistair Jones
Think we'll see tears?
He's away. We could see tears. It's funny though, like how much more this game's worth, but there won't be any tears for this. I wouldn't say there'll be any tears for this. I think there'll be tears if Karat win for themselves, because obviously this is monumental for this wee club. But
right, well, Schmeichel,
man bun. It's not really a man bun, I don't know. Anyway, either way, get him. Here he goes.
Stepping up. It's a great penalty.
Great penalty.
It's fantastic. It's
so what are we looking at here? Karat just need to score 2 and.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the aim. 2 if they get 2 out of 2. Tell you what, man, that Jorginho chip in the first one. All he had to do was keep it simple. I know if he scores it changes it, and maybe who's it, McCoyan? Maybe McCoyan doesn't miss the second one, but who's up? It's Kalmak.
Here we go.
Kalmak's tend not to be reliable, so will this guy be? He missed his last one, the shot.
Celtic's Champions League hopes in Cal McGregor's hands. It's a good penalty though.
Good
Keeper
penalty.
gets the right way, but unable to make the save.
Yep, good penalty.
Two
there.
penalties apiece, but Karat have that one still to go, so we'll see.
It's funny that if the penalty doesn't go in, but wherever it lands counts. So it could rattle off. See that his chip, see where it rattled off the crossbar? If that comes down, then goes back into the net, it counts.
I know.
So yeah, so I imagine Schmeichel was celebrating. Imagine you get caught off guard by that. Right, here we go, Karat. Tell you what, man, if they score this, then 1 to go, regardless of what Celtic do.
Oh, what a penalty that is!
No saving that, man.
That you can't get near that. And I tell you what, Schmeichel did a good job.
He did.
You know, I mean,
It's no often you go the right way, outstretch a massive arm, and you're nowhere near it.
that penalty had to be damn near perfect.
Yep. Absolutely. Tell you what, man, I've got a lot of notes. Well, I say a lot of notes for this game. Don't know where I plucked them from. Dyson Maida's been bogging. In terms of going forward, he's been bogging. Tracking back, he's been pretty much the only player on the pitch that's been decent.
Well, Maida needs to score, and Karat need to miss for Celtic to have a chance. Dyson Maida saved. It's all
And
over.
Celtic are out the Champions League. It's Thursday night plate competition.
Beautiful Thursday.
It's all over. Yeah, beautiful Thursday. Da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na. See all these wee memes. See the past couple of years I've had to endure about Thursday night plate competition.
They're going to finish runner-up to Hearts in
How's
the
your
league.
plate? Sack the board.
And they're finished runner-up to Karats
Tell you
tonight.
what, see the past 70 minutes? I could have laid it on a lot thicker, but I was like, see if this come back to bite me, I'm going to have to... Look, he's crying. I predicted it. I told you you'd start crying. I know all about Calmac, by the way. Brendan Rodgers patting the Almac guy in the chest. Celtic crash it. Tell you, no,
It's another shite penalty, by the way, man.
I think Dyson might. Yeah, yo, same height, same everything. I think Dyson Maida's head's gone, by the way. No, I think so. What? Yeah. Let's just address the elephant in the room. Coefficients absolutely dead, and fair play to Karat. But what does this mean for Brendan Rodgers? What does this mean for Celtic? What does this mean for the Celtic board? They had 2 transfers in the making this week. Are they just gonna pull the plug on them like a shite-filled bath?
Well, I mean, in terms of the coefficient, it is kind of sad. The Scottish coefficient is plummeting. But
if you were looking at a banker this week, it would have been this.
I mean, I guess long term, like a bit of hindsight, I don't know. Maybe Celtic can be more competitive in the Europa League. Cause I certainly don't think they would do much in the Champions League.
No, absolutely not. But yeah,
by no means is the Europa League like this poor competition. I still think they'll struggle in the Europa League.
Oh, here the Europa Leagues went from being the worst competition of all time to the greatest in some people's eyes, just for those couple of penalty saves. But yeah, I mean, face facts. I mean, it's going to I think it's pretty much guaranteed, barring a miracle tomorrow, that 2 Scottish teams are going to be in the same league stage.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless Rangers do the absolute unthinkable. I mean, here we could have 3 with Aberdeen, but do you want to talk about the rest of the game, or do we want to just...
No, I mean, how do you think those fans feel travelling out there to watch
Some guy got fined 30,000 Kakistan teng or something for vaping. Imagine getting off the plane, the first thing you do is vape, man. That's desperate.
What a fanny.
Isn't it? I vaping for fucking losers. See if you're gonna smoke something, at least smoke the real stuff, huh? I mean, but yeah.
Brendan Rodgers just got smoked tonight.
Yeah, who got Brodged?
Will he be puffing on a cigar?
Nope, not puffing, but yeah, I needed that. See August so far, man. I've been on the ropes. I've been broken, but that's cheered me up a wee bit till tomorrow, till about 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be being back in my bed. Has that cheered you up, Jambo Bell? You wanted Celtic to go through though, didn't you? So it feels good though, doesn't it? It feels really fucking good. Adam a day, man. Big eater.
I mean, it is what it is, you know. It's a shame that the best team in Scotland is not representing Scotland in Europe this year. It's just sad, but
No, Hearts.
always next year.
Always next year for Hearts. Tell you what, right? Banter aside, that's abysmal, isn't it? They've won it to a team ranked 311th or something like that.
Yeah, listen, we all know the lost. We all know well they're
Lost.
Well, the South Korean guy for Lost just popped up on the screen there, but I think Celtic were lost tonight.
Aye, lost here.
Where was their South Korean wonder kid? Yang, what did he do tonight?
Yeah, people calling for him to get subbed off pretty much immediately, but yeah, I said when this draw got a nut, there's no excuses, man. You can say the board this, the board that. That's on the players and that's on Rodgers.
But that will be the excuse and that will be the narrative. It will be the board that take the blame here, and the board will get all of the abuse and they'll be targeted for this. But in reality, you need to blame Brendan Rodgers because he is the manager. He has got a team that is good enough, a team that is financially far superior, and let's be honest, player-wise, quality-wise, far superior to Karat as well. This Celtic team, yes, it could be stronger. They could improve it a lot. But this Celtic team should be more than good enough over 2 legs to see off Karat. The fact they didn't even score a single goal. I mean,
yeah, it didn't really look close to scoring a single goal. Apart from Maida's chance.
They didn't even look close to scoring the penalties.
I know.
No, but Rodgers needs to take the blame here. He does.
Yeah, it would be very weak if he comes out and has a go at the board and talks about recruitment.
I mean, I can understand if it was the league phases and they regressed from last year and they didn't finish top 24, and his excuse was, well, we had, you can maybe go, well, look, they didn't make big signings to compete, but this is a qualifier, man. You're taking on the Kakistani champions.
Yeah, a Diddy team. A team that's ranked the lowest of every team that's. I mean,
see when Kakistan beat Scotland, I don't remember anybody saying, well, Alex McLeish didn't have the pool of players available to win that game. He certainly did. You should be able to field a Scottish team capable of beating Kakistan, and Rodgers should have been able to field a Celtic team capable of beating Karat.
No, absolutely, but I mean, let's just talk about the game, shall we? I mean, it all really comes down to this. But I mean, what happened in the first half? I mean, a pretty even game, but a brutal game if we're being brutally honest about it. Haha, going to stop saying brutal. But let's talk about the indirect free kick. So Kalmack back pass to Schmeichel. He tapped it over the bar. To be honest, I was walking the dog, so I didn't really see it. I'm just hearing it for people. But the reality is, they get an indirect free kick from 3 yards out. Then Dyson Maida handballs it, and then they don't get it for some reason. So I don't know. I need to look into it. But to be honest, doesn't matter. Karat are through. We could sit here and talk about the game if we really want to. But the headline is Celtic are out. The board, sack the board. Could you imagine if Rangers overturned it tomorrow?
And one on Sunday.
I mean, have you ever heard that or seen a 180 as big as that, man?
No, but listen, Celtic are out. It's it's unfortunate from a Scottish football perspective, but fair play to Karat. I think they deserved it.
No,
as the inferior team,
yeah,
to hold Celtic out for over 3.5 hours of football and stop them scoring, I think that's a pretty good job.
No, absolutely. But
Now, people are saying there's not going to be any. I don't know. People are saying there's not going to be any transfers now because they're out.
I still think they'll bring the 2 guys in that they're linked with.
Yeah, but this could have the opposite effect. Even though they're not getting
I
that.
thought Petrov was Simon Jordan.
I mean,
for a split second.
even though they're not getting that big money now, I mean, this could have the opposite effect. Maybe the Celtic board will feel like, oh, we really do need to spend now.
Absolutely, but Celtic crash out, folks. Europa League. Here, there's enough room at the table for the Thursday night plate competition. Don't worry, I'll prep the silverware, I'll prep the plates and all that good stuff. But no Scottish team in the Champions League as of yet. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But not the start to the week the coefficient need it. But it's one I'll fucking enjoy. Till next time, peace.
Some people called it ahead of time that this game had 0-0 written all over it, but I'm going to call it something else. I'm going to call it the worst Old Firm derby that I have ever seen in my life. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. It's finished at Ibrox. Rangers 0, Celtic 0, and you know what? 0-0 actually flatters both teams. They were shite. Both teams deserved to lose, and I think if it was possible for both teams to pick up 0 points, that's what I would be giving them today. They scored 0 goals. Most of the players will get close to a 0 in the player ratings. Just an abysmal game of football. Martin, not a clue what he's doing. Brendan Rodgers, probably the worst period he's ever had as a Celtic manager. It is diabolical. These are the two big teams in Scotland. These are supposedly the best Scotland has got, and no wonder Scottish football's in the mud right now. That people from outside watching this game, and this is supposed to be a good advert for Scottish football. Absolutely not. Then you factor in what happened midweek. It's diabolical. I think they could have played for 500 minutes, to be honest, and not scored a goal. Where was the chances? Rangers never had a shot on target. I think Celtic managed to get a couple, but I mean, one of them I don't even know if you would consider a shot. It looked like a cross. I think Butland had 2 saves to make. Schmeichel, I mean, he normally plays with his slippers on. He could have played without his gloves on today. He had absolutely nothing to do. Suter had the ball in the back of the net, but could not time his run, and that was like the only real threat in the game. That free kick that Suter scored. Yeah. And you know what? I'd love to sit here and say it's because both defences were playing like Maldini or whatnot, but it really wasn't. It was just absolute shite. But having said that, if I had to say who were the best players today, I'm probably looking at the players at the back. I'm probably looking at like a Liam Scales. I'm probably looking at like a John Suter.
Yeah, Liam Scales getting absolute pelters, by the way. I honestly...
First half he's way better than Vickers, by the way. He was the one stopping all the Rangers' attacks. Any crosses into the box, he was the one getting to them. He was getting the blocks in. So, yeah, no, Liam Scales actually had a pretty good game. And if you look at the goal that Suter scored, it's Carter Vickers that's marking him, not Liam Scales. So.
Awful for Kasper Schmeichel, by the way.
Yeah, he came out, got nowhere near it. But
see this game, though, it started alright. Like, there was a bit of atmosphere, 50-50 tackles. You know, the crowd was up for it, both sets. And then it just died a death, man. What is there to say? And like people trying to spin a narrative that maybe Russell Martin he'll be the happy. How can Russell Martin be the happy of the two? Honestly, he can't be. We're 6 points back. If he's the happy of the two, then he should be sacked for that alone.
Well, here's some of the stats. So Rangers had 41% possession. Celtic had 59. Rangers had 4 shots. Celtic had 5. Only 9 shots in total, and honestly, I mean, half of those that were registered shots, I mean, count. Celtic had 2 shots on target. Rangers had none.
Yeah.
93 minutes at home against a shite Celtic team, and Rangers did not register a single shot. What would Rangers have done if this was a good Celtic team? Can someone tell me here?
Well, yeah. Well, that is the problem here. Like, see if anybody wants to give Rangers like even a little bit of credit, the fucking reality is you will not see Celtic play worse than this in Old Firm. Now against Karat they were probably just as bad, but that's Karat. This is an Old Firm derby. Rangers for me in the first half did the bare minimum. They showed a bit of grit, but they did absolutely hee-haw, absolutely nothing, and it's actually just, I'm actually disgusted, man, because
currently watching the F1, by the way, guys, which is a bit exciting as this match we're talking about. Not exciting at all, but I want to know how Liam Lawson and Carlos Sainz have literally lost like 15 seconds on everyone else.
They hit each other. I was watching it there while you were talking.
Well, that's my bet down the drain. Right, guys, send us a super chat. Sick of losing fucking money. I need $4.99. Reimburse my bet. It was actually £3, but you know, once YouTube takes their tax. Anyway, so 5 shots for Celtic, 4 for Rangers. 2 shots on target for Celtic, 0 shots on target for Rangers. That is abysmal. Against this shite Celtic team, not a single shot on target. In terms of goalkeeper saves, just the reverse of the shots on target, really. Celtic, Schmeichel had no saves to make, and Butland had 2 saves to make, and both shots were right at him. I mean, as comfortable as you could get.
Like a Tierney overhead kick.
I mean, it's not even like, oh, look, Butland had to make a couple of good saves to keep Rangers in it. No. Anyone could have made... Onana could have made those fucking saves. Let's not kid ourselves here. 17 fouls committed each. In terms of corners, though, Rangers had 8 corners to Celtic's 1. So, if you want to give them credit for the corners, go ahead, but corners don't mean shit unless you do something with them.
Well, no, that is true, and you know what, man? Like set pieces, Rangers looked well, but see, not the thing is, right? Chris Sutton was spinning this narrative alongside Neil McCann and Ian Crocker. Set pieces of what Rangers looked dangerous from. See, apart from the one they scored, what did they really do? Like,
Nothing.
free kicks, corners, everything. There's your wee Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz incident that hoovered money at your bank account. But it's just like, I don't understand it, man. It genuinely felt like every ball that got whipped into the box, whether it was from a corner or a free kick, was hitting the first man, or even a cross. And how many times did we see Celtic's new signing not take on his man? We've seen it with Rangers as well. I thought Mikey Moore was piss poor.
I mean, I'm looking total. According to the stats, total big chances created from each team 0. Touches in the opposition box 11 each. They made a big deal in the first half. Celtic only had 3 touches in Rangers' box, but by the end of the game they both had 11 each. Expected goals: Rangers 0.15, Celtic 0.17. Just a diabolical game of football that I'm glad's over. I am fucking glad that's over.
Yeah, like there's actually...
You know what? I see if life was fair and you could be penalised for being shite. I see, instead of giving both teams a point, I would take away a point for both teams. That is one of the worst games of football I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like we're sitting here, right, and there's nothing to talk about. I mean, I want the Rangers to win, but it's like you look at this, and it's like this is like just brutal. There's nothing to, like, it's just, there's nothing to talk about the game. Like, see, if Rangers won, I could talk about this for about an hour. But it was 0-0. You know, there's nothing to say. I can't rub it in. You know, if one team's worse off here, it's Rangers.
And Neil McCann to come out and say that Rangers will be happier with the draw. How? Rangers are 3 games into the season without a league win. Rangers, Russell Martin's under pressure. I mean, he's literally, I think, 1 bad result away for getting sacked, 1 more defeat away for losing his job. He's already 6 points behind Celtic, and they're at home. If one team needed to win this game, it was Rangers. How can he say that Rangers will be the happier of the two with the point? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I get it, you can spin it. Oh, but if they lost, they'd be 9 behind. Still 6 behind. What difference does it make?
Yeah, I mean, what are we? What are we supposed to say positive about Rangers? They half turned up in the first half. Well, should we turn up anyway? We've not even listened to any post-match interviews for Rodgers or Russell Martin.
What can they say?
Yeah, like, you see if Russell Martin tries to spit. Not the thing is, right? See if Rangers had won see if we'd won the first 3 games, right? And we drew this in this fashion, I'd be like, you know what? Disgusting performance. Really should be winning at home, but at least we're joined at the top of the table. We're 6 points behind. There's no positives to take for this. He needs to go. I'll stand by that. He's absolute pish. Get rid of him.
Yeah, we might have a couple of anything you want to talk about here until I get these quotes up.
The game was awful. I've genuinely nothing to say. It was probably the worst watch I've ever seen. And obviously, because my own team's involved, it probably feels a bit worse. We both watched that second leg.
The thing is, you can get 0-0 draws that have good games.
Oh, absolutely.
And both keepers have pulled off some really good saves, and there's been chances galore. And but this wasn't it. This was not it. This was fucking abysmal.
Yeah, honestly, folks. I mean, you will not get a worse game of football between the Old Firm than this.
I don't know how Norris is 4 seconds behind Piastri, but there you go. Have we got some quotes here? I do know it's the worst start the Rangers have had in 42 years.
I mean, that takes you back to, 1983?
We made a video saying who will be Celtic... Well, we didn't make a video. We put a post up, and we'll make that video later on, I guess, about who will be Celtic's biggest challengers for the season. I think Hearts won the vote. I think they won the poll. I mean, based on this, is there truth to that? I mean, you talk about how important this game was for Rangers. Had they lost this game, they would be 9 points behind Celtic. Well, the next league game's against Hearts, and if they lose that, they'll be 9 points behind Hearts. So it doesn't get any easier for Rangers.
It reeks of last season, where if Rangers lost against Aberdeen, they'd be 9 points behind.
Only thing is, I don't see Hearts
capitulating.
That's the one I want to. I'm capitulating like my bet here, but I just really poor, man. Horrible game of football. I believe. Let's see what we got. What was your thoughts on Miovski?
I thought he was good. I thought Rangers got a lot worse than he came off. But he got no service.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I guess we could talk about the penalty incident. Wasn't a penalty for me, but here, if you're going to give penalties for certain things, then I think you need to be consistent. That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Not much difference between that and what we've seen with Gassama, but yeah, whatever. Right, Brendan Rodgers, he's came out, he spoke after the game. He has said, quote, "I don't think it was a good game at all. Positive for us, we've defended well in the main at the start of the season, been very resolute. We didn't have any shots on goal against us, but our offensive game is nowhere near the level I'd like it to be at. It was a game that lacked quality. We've lost players that connected the game for us. When you go through a spell of games you're not scoring, it can affect other guys and they don't quite make the forward pass and they make the safe pass. That creativity has come out the team and we need to find those connections again. I'm very confident we will improve. We have to. That's not the Celtic way of playing. Competition is our best coach at times. We need to find that. Sometimes you need that stimulus of competition." End of quote. So, I don't know, at the end there, it's Brendan Rodgers almost trying to put Celtic's bad form down to a lack of competition. I mean, I don't agree with that at all. Right now, they are joint top of the Scottish Premiership. You know, they're not running away with it, so they've got competition in that regards. They were held to 2 0-0 draws against Karat in the Champions League playoffs, so they certainly had competition in the Champions League playoff.
I think
or is he referring to the squad depth?
Yes, I think he's referring to the players. But
well, I was about to just say that,
but
you've
right,
stolen my thunder.
I know, but I think that's an excuse
to get players in board. Start backing me or I'm away.
Well, no, but also,
or things ain't going to get better.
I feel like that's been the excuse for Rangers over the years. Oh, there's a lot of complacent players in there when you're finishing second. See, when you're Celtic, right, and you're winning title, cup after title, cup, right, etc., etc., there should be no excuses then. And I think Rodgers himself just needs to actually front a bit of responsibility and a bit of accountability.
Yeah, when's this guy going to accept that here? That's 3 games. That's 3 big games in a row now where we've failed to score a single goal and we've been shit.
Like, why is he not turning around and saying something along the lines of, here, I could sit here and moan about competitiveness within the squad or the lack of signings, but the reality is this is a team that's won 4 titles in a row. It's a team that wins trebles and doubles. I should be getting a better tune at them, because no, I'd never do that, because that would be him holding his hands up. You know, I mean, I call out Martin for not holding his hands up. Now,
Russell Martin has come out and he has said the following, quote, "Cyril Dessers has probably played his last game for the club." End of quote. 30-year-old who came on in the second half has been linked with clubs in Greece, Panathinaikos and AEK Athens, and according to Russell Martin, well, not according to him, but he has come out and said this, that Dessers has probably played his last game for the club. I think once you say that, the player's pretty much out the door.
No, right, that's fucking horrific, man. You wanna know why that's horrific? Why is he coming on ahead of Danilo then?
Aye.
If Dessers is literally away tomorrow, because that's when the window closes, why is he coming on the track watching the F1? If Dessers is the kind of guy that would run on the F1 track, why is he coming on instead of Danilo? And I'll accept Dessers better than Danilo, but if Danilo's going to be here, why not bring him in? But that's Russell Martin. The guy's a FUD. The guy's been spewing this stuff about harmony and that the team, it'll be a lot better when we have players that are going to be here for the future. Well, Danilo's here for the future. You're looking to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Why is he not coming on? Look at Barami. Look at Tav. Look at guys like that. Raskin. These are guys that he's told can leave. But over the past couple of weeks, he's still relied on them. All right, today he made Raskin watch from the couch, but what's he actually said about the game though?
Nothing about the game that I can see as of yet.
Has he been sacked?
He's not been sacked, no, but just came out and says that Dessers has probably played his last game for the club. Transfer deadline day is tomorrow. I would imagine that both sets of teams will want to get multiple signings in the door, especially if you've got players leaving. I mean, it's just a disaster, really, isn't it?
No, it is a disaster.
I tell you what, right?
In fact, this guy's manager for another couple of weeks turns me.
I think that getting in Milovski
is great.
Is a really great signing, but if you're getting rid of Igamani and you're getting rid of Dessers and it leaves Danilo as your number 2, I've got to wonder, are Rangers not weaker now than they were? And you could argue Miovski's. You could argue. I think you could certainly argue that Miovski's better than Igamani and Dessers. I would probably agree with that. But I don't know. I think I think I would rather the combo of Dessers and Igamani as your 1 and 2 than Miovski as your number 1 with Danilo as your number 2, because I really don't rate Danilo at all. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think if Dessers goes, Rangers need to bring in another striker.
Yeah, I rate Miovski, right? Obviously, he's proven it more in this league than Igamani, but I do. If Igamani, right, was played as the Rangers number 9, he would be the best out of all three. Fact is, he's been played out of position, and his head's been turned, whether that's been by Martin or by anything else. But Miovski's not as good as having Dessers and Igamani. At the end of the day, he's one guy. You would have to be multiple steps above 2 guys to be better than both of them.
Yeah, I just think you'd be a lot more excited if you were going into the season with Miovski as the number 1 with Dessers as the number 2. But when you're going with Miovski as your number 1 with no Igamani behind him, no Dessers behind him, and only Danilo, who you don't really want to be playing any football because he is garbage, then yeah, to me that means the team is severely weakened.
No, it is severely weakened, and I don't even know how long this review's been going, but the fact it's been going, 17 minutes talking about this game, I think you just have a wee pat in the back for that. But yeah, we can't find Martin's comments. He's went AWOL. I hope he's went AWOL.
Just like his Rangers team. Oh well, we have something here, so something to build on. That's the quote that we can take away from the interview. Martin said the following. He said, quote, "I'm disappointed we didn't win because I felt we were good for large parts. I'm really proud of the players' level of fight, desire and aggression, and all things we questioned inside and outside of the building. That was a big focus today, to really fight and show some togetherness and spirit and aggression. There was so much of that. We couldn't find the composure at times. It's important to keep a clean sheet. It's an important point. We're 6 points off top, which is frustrating for us, but it gives us something to hunt. I was really proud with the response, especially the guys who haven't played recently. Maybe we've placed too much importance on certain things and have taken for granted that level of intensity and desire every week. We need to show that level of togetherness at all times. We've got something to build on." End of quote. Really, something to build on. Really proud of the players' level of fight, desire and aggression. Togetherness. This just seems all like fucking words in my opinion, man. It's... I'm not... I mean, I think Martin's coming out talking here as if, oh, we were great, we were phenomenal, what a result.
Martin's speaking like we won.
It's a fucking nil-nil
and
draw.
that would be something to build on, considering how fucking shite the start of the season's been. But yeah, it's a nil-nil draw, right? You're at home against Celtic, who couldn't have played worse. You something to build on? Of course it is. You all know why it's something to build on? Because there's nothing to fucking build on. You have to start somewhere. No shots on target in a game that was a must win. I mean that is the state of things, man. It's ridiculous. Building. See that building pish and him just oh man, I can't stand the guy. Vegan man. He's a vegan. Can't trust him. I mean, this guy could be eating a steak. This guy could be eating something good. Said he's eating shite and he's making us eat it.
I think he'll be eating beans, like, to be honest, because he'll be out of a job soon.
I like beans though. Beans are alright. I have no beef with beans.
Alright, he's actually come out and said a little bit more then about the Dessers situation.
No.
He says, quote, "We've agreed something with another club. We'll see how that goes in the next 24 hours. And then we hope to definitely have a couple in, and we'll see what happens after that, depending on who goes where." End of quote. And then when asked about Everton forward Youssef Chermiti, he replied, quote, "He's a player we like, a player Kevin Felwell and Dan Purdy know. I'm sure you'll find out very soon." End of quote. So, looks like Dessers is away, and his replacement will be Everton forward Youssef Chermiti, who I believe is...
Not scored a goal.
Yeah.
And he's a striker. It's going to cost him 8 million. You haven't really spoke on this. My opinion is, in this league, you can't be spending 8 million on a guy that's pish, and that's what they're going to go. I mean, this to me is Adam Ida 2.0. Apart from the fact that Adam Ida was actually good when Celtic brought him in and won them stuff. This guy's won nothing. This is pish.
Seems like a disaster.
Yo, could have brought in Tierney. Could have brought in Tierney and Seema for that price. Could have brought in De Torsman for 4. Fucking disaster. Is that where we're going to leave it?
Nothing else to say really. Ewan Cameron has come out and said a derby of dross. Scottish football has nothing to fear from the big two. I agree. I mean, all these people have come out and said that Tony Bloom's talking shite. It's impossible. There's no way Hearts could split the top two. I mean, really, based on what we've seen so far, why not?
Nothing exciting. Honestly, man, both teams are... The only difference is Celtic are a lot better at the back. I'd say that is the difference. Going forward, both lacking a bit. I just hope if Russell Martin goes, we would drastically get better. Anyway, folks, 0-0. Yeah, just a brutal draw. It's not even like it's 0-0 and there's talking points. Like me and you can be like, this happened, that happened. We can't even. Like what's there to talk about the next couple of weeks? Nothing. Anyway.
Well, I mean, we'll be able to talk about how bad Steve Clark does against Denmark. I guess that's the talking point. But
no, it's like you think you escape shite football.
No, unlucky. No,
and then HMS shite football.
I tell you what, rough weekend. I'm happy Hearts won, but I'm disappointed that we're not top of the table. I thought Rangers, Russell Martin would do us a favour today. So what we're gonna have to do, we're just gonna have to do it ourselves next 2 weeks time. Hearts take on Rangers at Ibrox, win that, hopefully outscore Celtic, go top of the table. Simple as, seems easy enough. Why can't we do it?
Is Rangers Hearts next?
Yep.
I think Hearts will win.
Well, let's have a look at the September fixtures. We've got Saturday 13th, Aberdeen, Livy, Dundee, Motherwell, Falkirk, St Mirren, Rangers, Hearts, Hibernian, Dundee, United, and then Kelly versus Celtic on the Sunday. So Hearts have a chance to go back top of the table on that Saturday, the 13th of September. Even a draw against Rangers would be enough to put them top until Kilmarnock hosts Celtic the following day. And I mean, Hearts have to believe that they can get a draw, surely, because Rangers have played 4 games and they haven't won one yet. So I mean, Hearts should go into that game thinking they can get a draw bare minimum.
Aye, I was going to say bare minimum, absolutely.
Only thing is, I mean, the transfer window by then, and
why has the Celtic game been moved to a Sunday?
Not too sure, but
I've seen someone say, this has been moved because the Europa League, but the Europa League doesn't begin the 25th.
I mean, you could argue Martin will have 2 weeks to 2 weeks more with his players, but at the same time, it's like that'll be an international break.
But Martin is Martin is
2 weeks could make them worse with Martin.
Yeah, no, but see with Martin, right? I don't believe it doesn't matter who we bring in.
Yeah,
he will ruin them.
And then the following Saturday, 2 weeks after that, I believe we've got the Fireplay League Cup in between. So only 2 league games happening in September, which is not a lot. And on the Saturday 27th of September, it's going to be Celtic Hibs, Dundee United Kilmarnock, Hearts Falkirk, Livingston Rangers, Motherwell Aberdeen, St Mirren Dundee. So yeah, Celtic Hibs at Celtic Park, that'll be a really tough game. Can Hearts be top of the table by the end of September? If they beat Rangers, why not? Because you'd expect them to beat Falkirk at Tynecastle.
Well, that is it.
Celtic have 2 difficult... I mean, Celtic going to Rugby Park, and I know it's not Derek McInnes' Rugby Park, but Kilmarnock have always been solid at home, whether it be under McInnes or Steve Clark. And then they have to take on Hibernian, who are no mugs, tough team. Celtic Park. Been interesting. September's going to be an interesting month. Only 2 league games. And I guess, I mean, that just goes to show you as well, like, the table's not going to look good for Rangers for a while. Even if Russell Martin begins to click, you've only got 2 league games in the whole of September.
Aye. Look at them, man.
Away
to Livy, home to Hearts.
It's going to take a while for...
even if Rangers were firing on cylinders, man, away to Livy and home to Hearts isn't a guarantee.
No, it's no.
I know over the years Hearts has kind of been a guarantee, but the Livy would be a bit...
Saturday, 25th of October, Hearts versus Celtic. That's the game right there. Can Hearts still be within touching distance? It's at Tynecastle. Tell you what, if Hearts can go into that game within 3 points to Celtic at the minimum and win that, then, title fight on. But for right now, guys, this video's over because the game was shite and I just don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, worst game of football this season, hands down,
Aye.
Because at least Karat, I had a bit of joy at the end of it. This side.
I mean,
Misery.
on the negative side, the Karat game fucking humped the coefficient. This game just humped nothing, but Scottish football's dead. It is what it is.
It is, but we've got a Dundee derby on, folks, so don't worry about it.
Brendan Rodgers may be happy with that display, but Celtic fans will certainly not, as the boys drop points at home and then, more importantly, drop down to second in the Scottish Premiership. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. And I've been saying this is how it's been going to go. I've been saying for weeks that Hearts would go top after this game. I even got the scoreline prediction right in the Hearts match. 3-0 Hearts. Now, I did think this would be a draw. Not a 0-0 draw though. I was going more for a scoring draw, either 1-1 or 2-2 or hell, maybe even 3-3 considering how many goals Hibernian can score and how bad they can be at the back at times, but it wasn't to be. They held out. Defensively they were pretty solid at Celtic Park, and yeah, I think they I did think they would get the draw, but I didn't expect them to hold Celtic out for 90 minutes, and you know, maybe this is a sign that Celtic are just going to struggle this season and they don't have the players in and the squad's not as good as it has been over previous seasons, and I think we all know that. Apart from pretty much all the Celtic fans that were saying they turned a corner over the last 2 games. Oh, we've been great, we've played well. Honestly, a win over Partick Thistle and a dodgy penalty, a very controversial penalty to beat Kilmarnock 2-1 in the last kick of the game. I wouldn't describe that as getting back to playing well and being great. Not at all, but here, Celtic weren't great today. Drop points at home against Hibernian, and you just love to see it. So Hearts now top of the table. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Just end the season right now. It's been a disaster for most clubs. How great would it be if you ended the season right now? Aberdeen relegated, Rangers in a playoff position, having to play somebody for the Championship. Hearts getting Champions League football. Like Tony Bloom said we would. It would be the perfect, and you know, St Mirren getting back into European football. Stephen Robinson deserves that. Just end it now. Stephen Presley, he would finish 7th, he'd be safe. I think we should just stop football. There's no more need for it. Just let Steve Clarke prepare for the World Cup. End the Scottish Premiership now. We can all move on. We can all be happy. I think that would be the ideal thing to do. But let's look at some of the stats then from this game, because despite it being 0-0, I think Celtic did create enough to certainly score at least a few goals today, but it did not happen. They had 77% possession, which is pretty dominant, but at home maybe you would expect something along those lines. In terms of shots, Celtic had 26 to Hibernian's 4, which is, you know, a lot. That definitely spells out domination. On target, Celtic had 6 shots to Hibernian's 1. XG, Celtic had 3 compared to a 0.8 from Hibs, so XG reckons Celtic should have scored 3 goals, but obviously they scored none, which we're all grateful for. And in terms of corners, it was 7-2, again, in favour of Celtic. So the stats suggest that Celtic deserved to win the game, but unless you put the ball in the back of the net, then you don't deserve to win shit, and Celtic couldn't do that. Front line, not that great. Midfield, you know, not that great, and I mean, we've seen the Celtic defence come under a lot of pressure. We've seen the Celtic defence come under a lot of criticism. Guys like Scales, guys like Ralston, those kind of players have been getting, you know, criticised, but I think it's the attacking players. I think it's the forward players that need to start getting criticised, because I think defensively in the league, Celtic have actually been good. I've not even conceded a goal yet. I don't think they have. I think Celtic have still not conceded a goal in the entire, or have they conceded 1? Did they concede 1? Was it 2 weeks ago? Did they concede 1? I think it's either 1 or none. They've conceded 1. I can't remember who it was against, so. It was Kilmarnock. My bad. It was Kilmarnock. I forgot about that. But yeah, so they've conceded 1 goal in 6 games. I don't think Liam Scales is a fucking problem here. I don't think Ralston is the problem here. I think the problem is the fact that they've only scored 8 goals in 6 matches, and only 1 of those goals have came in the opening 45 minutes. And if you look at Celtic in the first half of games, they have been shite. They've been really shite. Obviously today finished 0-0. it was 0-0 at half-time. The Kilmarnock game, 0-0 at half-time. The Livingston game, 0-0 at half-time. The Rangers game, 0-0 at half-time. The Aberdeen game, I think I'm pretty sure Celtic were they leading that one, or was it 0-0 at half-time? Honestly, can't remember. And then on the opening day of the season, again, memories. Oh, St Mirren 0-0 at half time. So if you look, I think Celtic were beating Aberdeen 1-0 at half time. Yeah. So if you look at Celtic's 6 games, they've been 0-0 at half time out of 5 of them. That's shocking. You know, it's not Scales' fault. Everyone wants to blame Scales. It's not his fault. It's not Ralston's fault. It's a combination of the midfield. It's a combination of the attack. Dyson Maeda just had the best season of his career last year. He's never going to repeat that. That was a standout season. Probably Celtic should have sold him at that moment to capitalise on the money. He wanted out the club. He was kind of held there against his will, and now he's not delivering. Eddie Atchell would have maybe been, an exciting signing 10 years ago, but this is a guy that for the last 5 years has pretty much done nothing in his career, and he might come good, but he's a gamble. You can't sit here and say for a fact that Eddie Atchell is going to be a success at Celtic. We don't really know. Tuneke, a lot of people are overrating this player massively. He might be great, but we've only really seen him in 2 games. Kilmarnock, yeah, you know what? He attacked and he had a go, and that was it. But if you look at his end result, his final ball was shit. Whether it be crosses into the box or whether it be him in good areas and finding the side netting with his shots. Overall, he wasn't that great. I think they need to calm down a little bit on Tuneke. Balakisha does not look good. You've got Yang, who isn't Celtic level. He's not Celtic quality. Jota's obviously injured. And James Forrest shouldn't really be playing for Celtic anymore. And if he is, he should be a sporadic player that really just kind of comes on to get his 1 goal a season. Yeah, if you look at Celtic, they're not that good up front. And if you look at them in midfield, you got Arnie Engels, wasted 11 million. Bernardo, I don't think really kicked a ball since Celtic signed him permanently. Luke McCowan is hot and cold. He can have good games followed by bad games. Callum McGregor, the most overrated player, I think, in Scottish football history, and has been pretty poor for at least a year now. He's on the decline. Hatate has been shite for a while. So yeah, I think they need to stop blaming the defenders, because it's easy to blame the likes of Scales and Ralston, but at the end of the day, Celtic have only conceded 1 goal in 6 games. That's good. If you do that, if you're only conceding 1 goal in every 6 games, then you will probably be champions come the end of the season. So it's not Celtic at the back that's a problem. It's Celtic going forward that is the problem. And right now they just seem unable to score many goals. And yeah, there's proof of that when you look at these games. But they did score a goal today. It was Eddie Atchell. He had the ball in the back of the net, but it was deemed to be offside, which I think was the correct decision in the end. But yeah, it was close. It was close, but I think he was offside. Dyson Maeda started on the right, even though Brendan Rodgers has come out previously and says that won't be happening. He doesn't play on the right. He can't play on the right well. He did play on the right today, and again he was pretty poor. Dyson Maeda just not delivering what he did last season. Celtic had chances. And he actually hit the woodwork. I think Sriracha as well hit the woodwork. So, listen, Celtic did have chances, but they didn't take them. And that's it at the end of the day. It finished 0-0. Brendan Rodgers, though, he said he was happy with the performance and that Celtic were dominant in every metric of the game. And, I guess technically that is true. That they were dominant in the game. But can he be truly happy with the performance when you fail to score in 90 minutes? I'm not entirely sure, but that's what Brendan Rodgers had to say after the game. He said, quote, "I was happy with the performance. I think in every metric in the game we were dominant. I thought today our football was really good. We went through the pitch well, just lacked that killer instinct in the box. But I also think they defended the box really well, so we need to credit Hibs for that. We had good chances. I don't think there's any doubt about that. When the ball broke through, we counter-pressed really well, and we dealt well with the set pieces. But it was just the final touch in the box we were lacking. We just couldn't find the back of the net, and when we did, it was offside." End of quote. Well, I'm sorry to tell. I'm not sorry. I'm happy to tell you, Brendan Rodgers, when you're offside and you hit the back of the net, you may as well no hit the back of the net because it doesn't count. You didn't score. You scored 0 goals. You didn't break the deadlock. It was a stalemate. It was 0-0. You're second in the table. Accept it. You're shite. That's where you belong. That's where you're going to finish at the end of the season. It's alright. Deal with it. Your third season at Celtic's going to be a failure. Then you're going to go back down to England. The fans are going to hate you. Hearts are going to win the league. It's alright. It's alright, Brendan. Don't worry about it. Don't fear it. Just accept it. Second place is no bad. Runner-up spot. You'll be alright. You'll get Celtic into some form of qualifier for the Europa League or the Europa Conference League or whatever second place gets you this year. So, aye. Don't be too downhearted. Maybe you can win a League Cup. We'll let you win the League Cup maybe if you're lucky. But yeah, double for Hearts this season, Scottish Cup and Scottish Premiership. I can feel it. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Anyway, guys, maybe it won't happen, but I'll enjoy the ride while we continue to be top of the table. But yeah, Celtic, I think this is the worst that they've probably looked under Brendan Rodgers, and that's including both spells. I've never really seen a Celtic team look this toothless going forward. I think they lack the quality players that we've seen them have under the 2 spells with Rodgers. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see if they can turn that around. January could be a big window. But I just see this team struggling. I mean, even I said that they've had multiple 0-0s, but even the Karat games as well, both of them were 0-0 at half time. There's just a lack of goals in this Celtic team. And it is worrying. They're very fortunate that Rangers are absolutely fucking shite, because had Rangers not been shite, I think they could have really lost the title this season. Can Hearts maintain what they're doing? Can Hearts stay up there for the remainder of the season? Time will tell. But for now, at least somebody is giving Celtic something to think about. Is giving them close competition. It would be shit. Imagine if Hearts weren't doing well and Celtic pretty much had the league wrapped up already despite being this poor. How bad would that be for Scottish football? Celtic with a shite start to the season, yet still miles clear and the league already wrapped up. At least, even if it's not going to be over the course of the full season, at least right now it's pretty competitive. And hopefully more teams can put a winning run together. It would be good if we can see a St Mirren or a Dundee United, or a Hibernian, or hell, even if Russell Martin can somehow pull his finger out his ass and go on a winning run of 6 or 7 games and close the gap a little bit. It'd be good if we could see more teams at the top of the table, because, yeah, from what we've seen so far, there's just no guarantee that Celtic are going to steamroll everybody and run away with this title. But look, we'll see. Today it was 0-0. I'm looking forward to next week. See if Hearts can stay at the top of the table. We'll see if Celtic can bounce back. I think they're under pressure. I think that Brendan Rodgers is under pressure. But the only thing saving them at the moment is the fact that Rangers are so shite. If Rangers were good right now, I mean, the criticism that Celtic would be coming under for their fans would be insane. But because Rangers are so bad, it's almost like they're getting a little bit of leeway, a little bit of breathing space. But listen, next week's going to be huge. You got Celtic taking on Motherwell, who are playing great right now, unable to win games, but I think they'll beat Aberdeen today. And then you've also got Hearts taking on Hibernian in the Edinburgh Derby, and that could be a massive game as well. So yeah, next week, guys, should be really good. But for this week, Celtic couldn't beat Hibernian, and they dropped down to second in the league table, and that's fucking great. Till next time, peace.
Celtic suffered their first defeat of the season. It's a 2-0 defeat to Braga in a game that suffered one of the worst referee decisions you'll ever see. I cannot believe the referee gave that corner to Celtic in the 89th minute when it clearly hit off Callum McGregor. Oh yeah, welcome back to Fog Football. Of course, that's a wee joke, but let's not kid ourselves, folks. We know that.
Wee joke? The only joke is Celtic.
Yeah, the only joke is Celtic.
The only joke is Brendan Rodgers.
But
the only joke is needing to come back in this European game and you having to bring on James Forrest.
Playing Dyson Maeda at right wing back? That's a joke. Is Brendan Rodgers done? Not in terms of he getting sacked, but do you believe that this is just who Celtic are and they're rank rotten?
Aye, how the mighty have fallen. I tell you what, guys, normally I'm a No, I'm a big
Coefficient guy.
Coefficient Cup's normally right up my alley, and that's normally a trophy that I'm always looking to lift every single Thursday or Wednesday or Tuesday. But I had 40 quid on Braga, so I'm going to brag about that. Matthew Miles said I was a failed football podcaster. Well, maybe so, but I'm not a failed gambler. I'm in my element.
You gambled you gambled on the coefficient, and it came up Braga, didn't it? Doesn't really work that, Eric.
Nah,
I'll tell you what works. Inject it. Celtic 2. You wish. Celtic 0, Braga 2. Get it in there. Get it in there.
This is a poor Celtic team, and I think this has got potential to be the first defeat of 3 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing. And Scottish football's probably laughing, but
the sad thing is, this could be the best result a Scottish team gets tonight.
Yeah. So,
which is fucking awful.
I'm sure people will be back later on, but yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. But that's for later on, right? This is for right here, right now. Celtic are pish. They're ranked rotten. Now, we'll get into the Iheanacho decision in a minute, of course. But starting 11, thoughts on the starting 11? Donovan back in for Ralston. I actually think Donovan was shafted at half-time, by the way, getting subbed off.
Yeah, it's almost like he's the scapegoat by taking him off at half-time, isn't it?
Tell you what the header there for the Palace guy. Eric, yeah, I know, but it is. I don't understand why he brought on Sirachi, then played Maida at right wing. Dyson Maida, you know what? See, at the start of the season, we kind of backed Maida and said it doesn't really matter. He's not the kind of guy to get his head turned by a transfer. I think he is. I think his head's up his arse.
His head's gone. His head is gone.
His head is gone.
Just like Rodgers, who was watching there.
Anyway, empty seats, right? Plenty empty
seats, empty voices,
no goals, empty nets.
Celtic unable to score. Just another game where, unless they get a lucky deflection or an undeserved penalty, then they just can't put the ball in the back of the net.
Damn right, but I mean, protest was cancelled obviously because the board agreed to meet with them on Monday.
Get it back.
No, you
get
say
it started.
You say get it back. That was as quiet as I've ever heard that. Was it not?
Yep.
That was like during COVID. Honestly, that was fucking...
It was so quiet you could almost hear us celebrating the fucking second goal in Celtic Park.
I know. What's happened? Yeah, money in the bank, guys. Anyway, right. So, Tanitke, he had a couple of... Let's actually just be fair. See Tanitke, right? He's like the only positive from Celtic tonight.
Aye.
I mean, he caused...
Always looking dangerous, lively.
But again, the Celtic board don't get any praise. I mean, looks like they've found a needle in a haystack there. Because he looks pretty good. But anyway, Kasper Schmeichel, let's just address the elephant in the room. He's done. A lot of talk about Tierney being done. A lot of talk about Cal McGregor being done. I think Kasper Schmeichel's done. I mean, last season he had the slippers on. I think the soles are through, man.
I think those slippers are stuck to his feet.
I can't get them off. He can't get the slippers off. Just very sloppy passing, but let's talk about their goal. 1-0. Ricardo Horta tries it for like, what, 30, 35 yards? Yo, it's a good shot, right? I'm not denying that. But he has to save this. He has to save this. He even saved it wrong. He used the wrong arm. Joe Hart is just a Celtic cheerleader, which is fair enough. He's a Celtic... He played for them, right? He's going to back them, but do you not think he just needs to call out Kasper Schmeichel here and say it's not good enough? He has to save it. I don't care what anybody says. He's got to question the goalie on that one.
Yeah, he needs to do better.
I mean, we're rewatching it here. So the number 6 plays it into number 20, and then Horta picks it up. I mean, it's like 35 yards, or 33 yards, right? And, like, Joe Hart's banging on about, the swerve, this and that. It
doesn't move that much.
Like, yeah. I would actually argue that's pretty straight, by the way. We've just rewatched it. See, that's as straight as, like, a shot with a bit of swerve on it can get. And he has to save that for me. But anyway, he doesn't. And then the game at this point...
Maybe he'd 40 quid on Braga as well.
Maybe he did, but at this point the Celtic fans were pretty depressed. Braga had a few set pieces, almost scored. We had Donovan fire over for distance. Grilic had a shot tipped over. He then had a shot long after that block. That took us into half time. Celtic were hanging on just before the break. I mean, a few half chances. Just looking very disjointed between the midfield and the attack. Going into the second half, Donovan gets subbed off for Sirachi. Again, like we said there, I don't really understand why he gets subbed off. I thought he was one of the better players, but to put Maida at right wing back just tells me that Brendan Rodgers is out of ideas. You don't put a guy that scored 33 goals last season at right back.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to help Maida find his form or get back to his goal scoring ways. When you're just basically forcing him into any position, doesn't look good. This is your star man last season, and now you're playing at right wing back.
No, I mean, Chris Sutton said, regardless of possibly the worst decision of all time, did Celtic really do enough to win the game? They didn't.
Yeah, the answer to that is no.
It would have been 1-0 for it.
I know Chris Sutton's trying to be nice and sweet and stuff like that, and
It's alright, Brendan, I'll wrap you up, maybe a bubble wrap, big man.
but at the end of the day, it was a piss poor performance.
No, it was. Right, second half, Iheanacho, heavy touch, really has to find Tanicki, doesn't lose the ball. Yo, Iheanacho will score goals, right? I don't think anybody really doubts that, but he's not good enough. And, it's like Celtic have went for Kyogo to my little bang on form last season, to then Adam Ida somewhere in there as well, he's shite, and then Iheanacho, it's just, he will score goals, but anybody up front's going to score goals for Celtic, man. That's just the way it is, but he does make it 1 each, right, and it's a good finish, can't fault this. Right, what's your thoughts on it? Should the goal have stood? Was it the correct decision? Was there a handball? Was there anything? Hit me with it, Jambo Bear, because the Virgin app's put the shut down and I need to go save the day.
Well, all the angles I've seen, I think it's definitely a handball. You can see it clear as day. Comes off his hand. And this just goes to show you what happens. See when Celtic don't have the refs in their pockets? See when the envelopes aren't being delivered through the Royal Mail? Your Majesty? Your what? Your Majesty? See, when they're not getting into the hands of Father John, then these are the kind of correct decisions that are called on the field, and it leads to Celtic not getting gifts. So, aye.
So, for you, correct decision then?
For me,
The clearest handball you'll ever see, guys.
For me, and on behalf of Stuart Kettlewell, I think we can all agree it was a correct decision.
Yeah. Clear handball. Come on, guys.
It's like the hand of God. Maradona would have been proud.
Yeah. I mean, is that Michael Jordan or is that Kelechi Iheanacho, guys? Come on. That's basketball.
Hey, all joking aside, it fucking was a horrible decision, and I can't believe it got disallowed, but there you go. I mean, maybe this just summed up. Maybe this. What?
What?
Nah, maybe this. I gotta be honest, man. It was a fucking horrendous decision. But maybe this just summed up Celtic's night. Because it was a horrible performance.
It was.
And nothing went right for them. Although, listen, I mean, they did have a couple of chances in the second half, and maybe if they'd have got the equaliser, they could have built momentum, but see, after that spell around, they did have a few chances around 20 minutes, 15 minutes remaining. I think Tanicki had a chance, and Tierney had a header that was saved. But after that, it just died out, and the second goal killed the game.
What I don't understand about the decision is that they're claiming it's a factual overturn.
They must have other angles that we don't.
Okay, right. Well, let's say theoretically they do have other
Because
angles.
the only thing, from what they showed us, there was nothing factual about it.
Yeah, I'd say the facts are wrong. What I would say is, right, if a handball is so minuscule that you can't tell from all the angles they've shown on the far replay, then should it really be given as a handball? Honestly, I think it's a joke, man. See, but we're fair. We'll have a wee joke, right? But we're not going to come on here and pretend that is definitely a handball.
From the angle the angle that I've seen, it's one of the worst decisions.
I totally
It
agree.
is one of the worst handball decisions. It might be the worst, actually.
I just don't understand it. I actually believe if the referee gives a handball, they probably overturn it. But you know what this is? This is re-refereeing football, man.
Yeah, this is not.
If we can't see it for like 3 different replays, then what replay are they seeing?
The only thing I can think of is they're not showing us the replay that they came to the conclusion it was.
But that's where it's a joke, man. Right? See when they.
But why would they have access to a replay and not show us it?
We pay a lot of money, right? Everyone worldwide pays a lot of money for your club. You pay TNT, you pay Sky, etc., right? Are we not fucking owed VAR? Are we not owed to see the replay that they're seeing?
Yeah, and I also think it just brings the game and
Like, let's say it has to be clear and obvious to overturn the goal, and therefore it's factual.
But if it's that factual, then they must have a clear... How are we not seeing a replay? It's a fucking joke, man. It's VAR ruins football. Here, maybe Celtic go on to win the game, maybe they don't. To me, that's irrelevant, because seeing that moment, that is just re-refereeing the game.
We need to get rid of fear.
Yeah, like, no, but...
It's not work, it's failed.
Yeah, Braga had enough to win that game. Celtic could have went on and won it, but to just look at that moment in isolation, it's a disgrace. What are they even... Why? What are they doing? And what I would say... But see, UEFA, right? We know UEFA referees the game to a different standard in our league. Our leagues, I don't even know what it is. Are you trying to tell me that in our league, Celtic at Celtic Park against Livy, get that against them?
Not a chance.
And that's not me saying, oh, well, it's all corrupt, it's corrupt. They just don't do that. I don't know what they're doing. Honestly, man, we can fire Rangers on as well. That's Ibrox and that's Rangers against Stephen Presley's Dundee, right? Are they overturning that? To me, that is an awful decision. Tierney had a header saved. Braga then had a 4-on-1. Should do better. They don't. João Matinho comes on. Yes, that João Matinho didn't do anything. Tanicki has a shot saved. Carter Vickers has a header.
Mental, he's only 30. He's
39.
Mental, he's still only 39.
I know, I remember the good old Monaco takeover back in the day. 2-0 though, Martinez. Celtic have a couple... Braga have a couple of shots. Scales blocks it. Then I think it was Dane Murray boots it onto the boot of Martinez. 2-0. Bang, bang. Could have made it 3. Braga definitely deserved the win. Let's not pretend otherwise here. Celtic were absolutely toothless. But at the same time, you still have to admit they were denied a clear goal. Unless UEFA... Be interested. There'll be fallout for this game, but... that's the thing, right? It's just it's a league stage game, right? Say that's to knock Celtic out the semi-finals of the Europa League. I mean, that's... But they shouldn't look at incidents like that. That should just be looked at as what happened in the moment, not in the importance of the actual game and the overall outlook of the season. But for me, awful decision. And but they must have a replay. You can't overturn something without the facts, and they said it's factual, so...
Yeah, there's no movement from the ball to suggest it even hits his hand. There's nothing. There's nothing at that angle to suggest that... we're not even saying, it's the slightest touch off the hand. It doesn't even look like... If the ball hit his hand, it would have changed direction, or it would have moved slightly. It didn't do any of that.
Yeah. And we know for a fact that the ref didn't go over to the monitor because it was factual. So
who was on the monitor? Was it Chris Boyd?
No, I tell you what, man. It said he did send the guy over to the monitor. What's he looking for? I don't know. Looking for 3 points because Celtic didn't get it anyway.
Is that not one of those cases though? If they say it's factual, the ref doesn't need to go and look at it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he doesn't need to go look at it. I just don't understand this. Yeah, maybe we'll get a replay, but we tend to get it with UEFA folks. They don't explain their actions. Not remember last year that the Bilbao Rangers game, the Sterling he gave away a penalty and it should never have been a penalty. Then you had Dessers getting his fucking shirt ripped off against Bilbao and they never explained anything behind it. Anyway, Celtic have got 1 point out of 6 and Slavia Prague, not Slavia Prague, who to draw with? Red Star Belgrade. That point was good, but that point was going to be good on top of 4. That looks shite now, doesn't it? 1 point out of 6. Doesn't it? It does. The Jambo Bears had enough. He's away to eyeball it. Till next time. Peace.
The full-time whistle went at Dens Park and Stephen Presley was left looking a miserable man. He looked like someone had just stolen his last fiver and he'd been stranded in the desert with the last swig of his iron brew taken away from him. But don't worry, Stephen Presley, I'll be happy for you instead, and we will not be dehydrated. No, we'll be drinking all night. We don't need iron brew. We don't even need Steve Clark's hard stuff. All we need is the Celtic tears, and there will be plenty as they fell in Dundee against arguably the worst manager in Scottish Premiership history, one of the worst teams in Scottish Premiership history, but it doesn't matter because they were good enough today to school Celtic and to beat them by 2 goals to 0. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football, and I said it Dundee were going to win the day. I predicted it. I went 1-0, and lo and behold, Stephen Presley, he was like, son of Scotland, do you not know who you're talking to? You're talking to the governor here, Stephen Presley. He wasn't going to accept a 1-0 win. Sure as hell no. He wins by 2-0. He doubles my prediction, and what a win it was, and it was a well-deserved win. Stephen Presley, from the first whistle, absolutely schooled Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers there, standing on the touchline in awe and amazement. He couldn't believe that he was sharing the same touchline as a managerial god in Stephen Presley. We should all be bowing down. Stephen Presley, some people doubted him coming in, but he has proved all the doubters wrong. This guy, if there was a Ballon d'Or for managers, this guy would be winning it. I don't care. Get Steve Clark out and get Stephen Presley in. Never mind qualifying for the World Cup. We'll go and win the whole damn thing with Stephen Presley in charge, because he's that damn good, guys. What a result, what a performance, what a day. Beautiful Saturday followed by a beautiful Sunday. You know what that means? When you combine a beautiful Saturday and you combine a beautiful Sunday, you get a beautiful weekend. A weekend that sees Hearts sitting top of the table by 5 points, soon to be 8 points when we go and scud Celtic next week with Shankland and Braga and Kizzareeders and all our attacking players that they were simply not be able to deal with, just like they weren't able to deal with the likes of Simon Murray and Wesley and that other guy whose name I can't even remember, but he was really good today. What's his name? Congreaves, that's the one. Congreaves, making Scaldini look like fucking, I don't know, making him look like somebody shite. How about that? That's what he made him look like. Carter Vickers, best defender in the league, not a chance. Yang, how's he still starting? I do not know. Anthony Ralston, shouldn't he be in there? Callum McGregor, multiple seasons past his best. Hatate, been woeful now for about a year. And Iheanacho looked like the player we all thought he was today. Just a panic signing from Celtic. I mean, this team should still be good enough to beat Dundee. Don't get me wrong, should still be good enough to beat Dundee. But they weren't just playing Dundee. They were playing Dundee with the greatest manager in Scotland in charge, Stephen Presley. And this team just wasn't going to beat Stephen Presley. I mean, they can throw all the balls that they want onto the pitch at the start, and I'm sure they'll be throwing little temper tantrums after the game. But fuck it. Dundee, Stephen Presley, what a buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. And the opening minute, 2 minutes, that was about as good as it got for Celtic. They threw all the wee balls onto the pitch, and I mean, they had better delivery on those balls than any of the Celtic players did, because everything they threw into the box was comfortably dealt with by Dundee for the rest of the game. So maybe they should get the fans onto the pitch. Maybe they can try delivering a few balls into the box. But, I mean, let's talk about it. So at the beginning, we get the whole protest about the board. That delays the game for a few minutes, delays kick-off, which sucked, because I couldn't wait to see Dundee get underway here and show Celtic how it's done. But eventually the balls were cleared up, and then Dundee started on the front foot. They pressurised Celtic, they were getting in Celtic's faces, they were getting men forward, they were looking good. And I thought, right, things are going pretty well here. Then we had an Iheanacho shot, a shot out of nothing. McCracken lets it go, and it hits the post. Now, normally when goalkeepers don't even react to shots, you expect them to go comfortably wide. Now this one, yes, it was wide, but it did hit the outside of the post, and if McCracken here maybe could have looked a bit dumb if he'd have left it and it went in, but thankfully it was a shot to, I mean, it would have been absolutely sick if this went in, but it hit the post and went out. Then we have Robertson getting the opening goal, head at home, a Congreaves corner. Congreaves crossed it in, Robertson's in there, and he rises above everyone else, puts it into the back of the net. Where was the Celtic defence? Not really sure, but I tell you what, where was the Celtic defence for the second goal? Congreaves. So Dundee, they break from a Celtic attack. It was Tuneke, he tried to get a shot away outside the box. Dundee managed to win it off him. Then they hit on the counter, 4 men coming forward. Ball gets played it to Congreaves, and he runs up to Scaldini, and unfortunately for Congreves, this wasn't the Italian Maldini, it's the Irish Maldini known as Scaldini. So, yeah, he just, I mean, the skill here from Congreves sends him there. I mean, he looked like a Ballon d'Or winner, just like his manager. I mean, this was some, like, messy shit here. Just takes it round him. Nice wee sidestep and then hits the ball in front of Scaldini. Maldini, Scales can't do nothing about it. Then he crosses it into the box. It is then hit by Wesley. He directs it towards goal. Carter Vickers attempts to get some sort of block on it, but that doesn't really work, and it ends up pretty much taking a nick off Carter Vickers and then trailing through his legs and going into the back of the net, and this gives Dundee a 2-0 lead at half-time. Celtic fans were shocked. Brendan Rodgers was shocked. But I'm sitting here, and I predicted this. Stephen Presley, what a guy. I said it. He's a Hearts hero. He's a Hearts legend. And as much as I appreciate him winning the Scottish Cup with us, this feels better than anything Stephen Presley did in a Hearts shirt. This win today, fucking amazing, man. He may as well have been sitting on the sidelines wearing maroon. Anyway, half time, you're thinking, right, we've seen this story before. It's not often Celtic are behind at the break, but, you know, on occasions where they are, you know, we tend to see them come back and get wins. So, not getting too carried away here. Dundee had a good chance to make it 3. Murray with a break early in the second half, and he could have played in, I believe it was Wesley, but he decided to try and cut inside, and he just couldn't get past Scales. And I mean, that was a chance, so I was a bit pissed off about that. He should have definitely done better. Murray then got subbed after that, so maybe he was like, I don't know, might have had an injury or lack of fitness, I don't know, something wrong with him. Hatate then had a good low volley. It was driven just wide. This was probably the first real chance that Celtic had. I know they hit the post in the first, but this was a good strike for Hatate. He done well, brought it down. Unfortunately for him, put it wide. So, but it was a chance, you know, and they didn't have many of them. Didn't have many clear-cut ones. We then had a long throw nodded on by Robertson, and then it was Hay almost headed it home for 3-0. I think he should have done better here. So the initial throw comes in, Robertson flicks it on with his head, and then Hay was there and he put it narrowly wide of the post. Could have been 3-0, but just wide of the target. Then we had a Celtic corner. It dropped at the back post for Iniacho, who striked it, but McCracken rushed out as quick as he could, and he closed in the gap and made sure he got a block on it, so denying Iniacho a chance to score from that. We then had Tierney with a cross in, left-footed cross from the left-hand side. Decent touch for Iniacho, takes it down, gets a shot off, but Graham was in there again to get the block, and then McCracken came out and gallered it in his hands. Then we got a penalty awarded to Celtic for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It hits Digby in the face. Now, his hands are up, and I'm going to assume that the referee has I'm assuming that the referee's assumed that the ball's hit his hands, and that's why his hands are up in the air, but the ball smacks him clear in the face. And after like a 2.5 minute VAR check, he gets called over to the monitor, and the penalty is rescinded. But I don't know why it took so long, because you can see in the replay, it's quite clear that it does not hit his hands. It hits him in the face, and not that it really matters, but the ball is going well wide. This ball is being skied over. This would have been a disastrous way for Dundee to concede a goal and to allow Celtic back into the game. So I'm glad that it didn't happen, obviously, but maybe going forward, you need to keep your hands down. I think Digby will need to keep his hands down. Even though it didn't hit him in the hands, the referee thought it did, and had there been no VAR, this penalty would have been awarded for what? For a ball smacking you in the face. That's what Celtic would have got a penalty for here, had VAR not intervened. And honestly, with how long VAR were taking, I was beginning to think that they weren't going to do anything, because surely if they look at this and it hits them clearly in the face, you're thinking, right, well, why is it taking so long? They should just tell the referee it's not a penalty, or tell the referee to come over straight away. But the fact that it took so long, I thought maybe they were going to look at a different factor and possibly award a penalty because his hands were in the air anyway, but thankfully they decided not to. So that was good. Then it should have been free here. We got another free kick into the box here from Dundee. I think it was Balakisha that gave away the foul from about 30 yards out. Robinson heads it, but instead of heading it towards goal, he heads it across the box. Now, I get it, he's heading it across the box and hoping that, you know, there'll be a Dundee player there to try and get something on it and poke it home, but Robinson's he's on the edge of the 6-yard box, possibly even in it. He's got to go from. I mean, we know he's good in there, so he's got to try and head this home himself. But he tries to direct it across the 6-yard box towards Hay, and I mean Hay almost got on the end of it, but it should have did better here. Definitely, I think Robinson should have just went for goal. Big chance. We then had Tatate with a shot tipped round the post by Luke Graham's ass. So Luke Graham here was blocking everything today, even his ass cheeks. I mean, John McGinn's normally the one that blocks with his big ass, but here we had Graham, denying goals. And there was a VAR check as well here. I'm not quite sure what for. I don't think it was the ass hit. I'm pretty sure it was a shot previously in the build-up, but no handball, no penalty. Then we had Dundee on the counter again. It was a low cross in from the left-hand side, and Hay was there, but just couldn't make a connection on the ball. And I just think he should have busted a gut. I think he should have made more of an effort to get there. Unfortunately, I mean, it's probably a tap-in at this point, and 3-0 sounds and looks a lot better than 2-0, but they couldn't get it. Celtic huffed and puffed, threw a couple of balls into the box, had a couple of shots, but nothing to really trouble McCracken, and in the end, Dundee win the game by 2-0 at Dens Park, and it's a win that takes Dundee now on to 9 points and takes them out of the relegation places. So it's a big win for Dundee, a massive win for Dundee. In terms of possession, it was 18% Dundee compared to Celtic's 82%, but doesn't matter about possession, it's about what you do with it, and Dundee sure as hell did a lot more with theirs. Shots, 10 for Dundee, 23 for Celtic. Shots on target, 2 for Dundee, 3 for Celtic. So Celtic there having 23 shots, but only 3 on target. And that right there that's a telling factor that this team is just not good enough up front. I believe touches inside the box, 15 for Dundee, 48 for Celtic. Goalkeeper saves, only 2 for McCracken and 1 for Schmeichel. And that is piss poor. Corners, 12 corners for Celtic, 2 for Dundee. But Celtic you think that they would have wanted to at least pressure McCracken more and force him into more stops and more saves than they did. But unfortunately for them, they couldn't. And Dundee were solid. I mean, Dundee were really good. Going forward, they were good. Defensively, they were good. Goalkeeping-wise, they were good. This has to go down as Stephen Presley's best performance as a manager. I can't think of anything better. He got. Not only did he get the performance, he got the result. I mean, a 2-0 win against Celtic, clean sheet and all. It was an absolute masterclass for Stephen Presley. I mean, all joking aside, let's give the guy a lot of credit here. It would be easy to say that Celtic were shit, but I think that Stephen Presley deserves a lot of praise. And that takes Dundee then up into 9th. They've got 9 points, -5 now in the goal difference, but they're heading in the right direction. They're now above Motherwell, Aberdeen and Livingston, albeit they've played a game more than Motherwell and Aberdeen, but I think they'll just be happy to get 3 points today, and now they're level. Dundee are now level on points with the following teams: Falkirk, St Mirren and Rangers, so they're all in 9 points. As for Celtic, they remain on 17, that's they've now conceded 5 goals this season, and they remain 5 points behind Hearts, which is absolutely wonderful to see. League table is looking pretty damn good if you ask me. Hearts sitting top, 22 points. Celtic now in second with 17, and Hearts have a 7+ goal difference now over Celtic. That is insane. And with the match next week, Hearts versus Celtic at Tynecastle, if Hearts can come out and win that, the gap would be 8 points. The goal difference would at least be 9. That's the lowest it could be. The lowest the goal difference could be in Hearts' favour would be +9. Holy shit. I mean, I know it's early days, but what a lead Hearts could have. And yeah, they've got pressure. They've got the pressure's been taken off them a little bit, knowing that if they do lose to Celtic, they're still going to be 2 points clear, but that's a negative way to look at it. Hearts have got to go into that game thinking that they at least need to draw it. But if they can win it, then they go 8 points clear. And then at that point, there really is a title fight. I think right now there's a title fight. Celtic are still favourites, make no mistake about it. Celtic are favourites, and I think we all know that. I think anybody that knows anything about football can understand here and appreciate that Celtic are still the favourites with players, with managers, with fans, with the bookmakers. They are favourites, but I think there is a genuine title fight now, and if Hearts can go 8 points clear, then that might change in terms of who is favourites for the title. But yeah, Hearts sitting on 22 points, 5 in front of Celtic, 11 in front of Hibernian, and they are 14 in front of Rangers. So absolutely insane. Hearts now the only unbeaten team left in the league after 8 games. Beautiful Sunday, guys. Beautiful weekend. You got to love it. And I am loving it. Stephen Presley, what a guy. Brendan Rodgers, not happy. Don't blame him. Contract's coming up at the end of the year. Wasn't backed by the board. And you know what? I've got a feeling after this he might not be getting backed by the fans either, because they're going to turn against Brendan Rodgers. This was a bad result, but it was a good result for Stephen Presley. So fair play and respect to him. And guys, and that's where we're going to end it. Great game of football. Looking forward to seeing all the reaction. We'll do the SPFL review show later. Stevie Cool was hibernating after yesterday's result, but this might bring him back. This might bring him out of under whatever rock he crawled under, because his team Rangers actually gained points on Celtic this weekend. Believe it or not, the gap's down to 8. So, aye, maybe everybody can be a little bit happy this weekend, apart from the Celtic fans. But judging by the protest at the beginning of the game, I don't think they were happy anyway. So screw it. Stephen Presley's the man. Life is great. And that's it. Leave a like, guys. Leave a comment. Subscribe. See you in the next one. Until then, peace.
Celtic may have been able to defeat a Diddy team during the week and storm Graz, but they were unable to storm Tynecastle as the champions-elect Hearts win by 3-1, go 8 points clear, and possibly put the final nail in Brendan Rodgers' coffin. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. It's a great day in the capital.
That pronunciation was like a Honda Civic, dare I say.
Not quite a Ferrari, but here neither are Celtic, so it's alright.
Aye, Brendan Rodgers, his arse is on the ground. You said it, I said it, Hugh Keevan said it, among others. We all said Hearts would win.
I went 3-0. I went 3-0.
A variety of score lines, but the reality is we got there in the end.
What was your scoreline prediction?
I went 2-1.
I went 3-0 and Hugh Keevans went by 3, so yeah, we're all pretty close.
We were all in the same ballpark.
The only thing that matters is we're alright with the result.
Aye.
Hearts win, Celtic lose, 8 points. Fucking read it and weep. Hearts sitting top of the table, best team in the country. Oh, Jambo Bear's shitting it. Hearts are going to get it. Celtic are playing great now. Oh, look at what we did against Storm. You beat Storm Graz 2-1. With 2 set pieces. Congratulate. A wee Diddy team, by the way, for Norway. Big whoop. Austria. At any point, doesn't matter where they're for. They're no for Edinburgh, right? Because see, when Celtic come to Edinburgh, the Maroon side, they can't win. They don't get the victory. They don't get the 3 points. Back down the road.
Yeah,
up the road.
I'll be honest.
Across the road.
As great as this is for Scottish football, I'm jealous, because I look at Hearts and they're everything that Rangers should try and be. They sign a Scottish manager, correct investment, with the correct signings, with an actual structure.
Jamestown Analytics.
That's what I want, but...
what would you rather? Jamestown Analytics or Felwell and Friends?
I'd rather Thomas and Friends Rangers, to be honest, man, but we've got Telwell. More on Rangers later. Yeah, Rangers got the opportunity to close the gap to 5, but what about Celtic, man? I labelled it an injury crisis on Friday morning. I get called a liar. Where are those people now? Where are you? Wee Matty the second. Matty the 8 points behind.
Never mind an injury crisis. It's a crisis in general.
No, seriously though.
It's a crisis in general.
How was I called a liar for saying that the likes of Maida, Ian Acho, Johnston and Carter Vickers were out? 4 guys that are the best in all their positions were out, and that wasn't an injury crisis. Well, looking at Dane Murray, the likes of Donovan, looking up front and looking at the winger situation, it looks like it is a bit of a crisis there.
Oh, absolutely.
And what about the dugout?
Look at the league table, it's a crisis. 8 points behind.
I said, when is the question going to get asked about Brendan Rodgers getting the sack? Because if he was 8 points behind Rangers, there's almost a case he would be sacked. Right?
Oh, yeah, but can you not make the case it's worse? Being 8 points behind Hearts?
It is, but
I know some people...
I think it's just due to the obsession between both clubs.
I know, I get that. That is part of it, and I also think that another part would be that most people would claim, yeah, well, it would be harder to claw back an 8 point gap on the other side of the Old Firm, but not the way we're seeing Hearts play. I mean, Hearts are playing just as good as any Celtic or Rangers team have it in a long time.
No, a lot of factors. This is the best we've seen an Old Firm team, honestly, in decades, and it's the worst we've seen.
I would say it's the best non-Old Firm team since the Hearts 2005-06 season with Mad Flad in charge. Now I get it.
I would say that Celtic team's better than this.
Aberdeen did put in, a decent run in 2014-15, but there was no Rangers, there was no Hearts in the top. I don't even think Hibs were in that year. There was a lot of teams missing for the top flight that season, and you'd Ronnie Dyla in charge, and Celtic weren't up too much. But no, this is a good Hearts team, a great Hearts team, dare I say. You got just so many good players, so many players that you think can have individual moments of brilliance, and we've seen that today with Kizaridis down the left hand side. Guy was always looked a threat. Claudio Braga, every time he gets the ball, you expect him to do something. You've got Shankland, who is the best goal scorer in the league. Two of the best, I think probably one of the best, if not probably the best. You could argue Hearts have got the best pairing in both centre midfield and centre defence. It would be hard to argue against that right now.
Great strikers, great wingers, great midfield, and a solid backline. And you know what? Look at depth. It's not just, oh fuck, if he picked up. I mean, yes, if Shankland get injured, you'll go shite, but you got Kabungu, who's pretty good. You got Braga, who can play there. You got all these guys who can do a role. Honestly, see Hearts, people are like, oh, they'll fall away.
Will we?
No, even if Hearts fall away, Celtic have just lost 2 in a row. Where's to suggest that Celtic are going to go on this epic run?
Yeah, no, I think Hearts' form will dip at some point.
It has to.
But there's nothing to suggest that Celtic or even Rangers are going to all of a sudden click and put together this amazing run of form.
Yep. No, absolutely. But, right, I think it's time we get into the game. First half.
Before we get into the game, I just want to say to all these people that said I was bricking it and that Celtic were going to win the day and Hearts' bubble was going to burst and all this shit, get it fucking right up you.
Aye.
Right, let's get into the game now.
Yeah, even if you were bricking it, which you want, you could build that.
No, I mean, I said 3-0.
Oh, the bricks. I mean,
yeah.
And it's probably a bigger house than they all live in. It doesn't matter if you were bricking it or not. It's still fucking won. At the end of the day, but it's Hearts 3, Celtic 1. Even first half. Talk about it. Hearts started great. They got the goal. They had opportunities before it. Shankland had a few shots. Braga gets the header. Shankland hits it back across.
Good save for Schmeichel.
It was.
He tipped it onto the post. Shankland though managed to get a ball fired back in, and I don't think it was going in. I think it was going to go straight across. There was another. I think it was Kizaridis maybe on the far side. Could have fallen to him, but Dane Murray took care of it, or at least he thought he took care of it, and he ends up putting it into the back of his own net. So
it's a bit unlucky, but it's also, put it this way, if it's Carter Vickers, he's probably hitting out the stadium, not picking out the back of the net.
Well, I mean, you don't know. I mean, it's a mistake, isn't it, for Dane Murray? It could happen to anybody.
It could, but a wee bit of inexperience there for Dane Murray. He's probably not used to it, but the key thing is, though, Shankland puts it into the worst area possible.
Aye.
Puts it on the line, literally. And it means if you do miss-hit it, you're snookered. And he was snookered, because it was 1-0. But the disappointing thing from a Hearts perspective, the game can't die to us for Hearts. Celtic just took control.
Hearts dropped off for the next 15-20 minutes. Celtic did get on the front foot. Looked like they were going to score. It did score not so long after that.
And I think that's what's so
nice.
good.
Nice move as well, I think, with
to be
McGregor,
honest,
Tanecki and Tierney. Tierney cuts it back. McGregor with a nice wee side foot finish. He's literally placed it in. Not much power behind the strike whatsoever. Just placement, side foot.
And I think this is why the win's more impressive this way, right? See if Hearts just beat Celtic. Say they performed like they did at Dundee. You'd be like, oh, that's great. But Celtic were shite. Celtic got control of this game and Hearts took it back.
Yeah, no, I think...
And that's more impressive to me than if Hearts just won.
I would say towards maybe the half an hour mark, Hearts started getting into the game a bit more. Kizaridis down the left-hand side, constantly causing problems. Every time he got the ball, he was running down the left, and I think Donovan and Murray were struggling to deal with the guy. Whether he was going to cut inside or whether he was going to go to the byline, he was always mixing it up.
His cross almost caused their own goal because it flicks off Donovan to the back post. Harry Milne tries to get on it.
Almost.
Should get on it, but he doesn't get
it. Right, then we had that chance where I believe it is Schlo with Schlo plays a pass out or a clearance, whatever. It's not great. It's intercepted about 40 40 yards out. Hatate then plays it, I think, to Taneke. Taneke with a pass in towards Nygren, who takes a great first touch. Everyone's saying, oh, Nygren should score, Nygren should do this. I think his composure and the technique and the control of him to take that touch, I think, and put it onto his other foot and attempt to dink over Shalot. See if that goes in, though. I think you're talking about how world-classy a goal he's made that look.
Yep.
But the keeper, fair play to him. Slow was already on his way down, but because Nygren didn't hit it first time, that allowed Slow to slightly have a quick second to try and get back to his feet. And as he was pushing himself up, he managed to get a hand on it. It's a great save for Slow, but I think they were way too harsh here on Nygren. I think they could, I'm not just saying that because he didn't score and I didn't want him to score, but I think if he does dink this over Slow, this looks like a world-class finish.
I think Nygren, this is something he should score. He should put his foot through it, but at the same time, you've got to show appreciation for the save.
See if he puts his foot through it, it's probably blocked.
Yeah. No, something
it's probably blocked by the defender, or Schlo could maybe save it.
Yo.
Or he could miss it. The touch, the control that he shows literally opens up the goal for him. And he done the hard part and then just couldn't do the easy part, but it's still a good save for Schlo, so give the keeper some credit.
And at the same time, what you got to look at is he creates the opportunity by doing the defender in. And I'm not saying it gives him free rein to do what he wants, but to me it's more brilliant for the goalkeeper. It's brilliant for both of them than, he's shite, he should have scored that.
Yeah, Hearts had a couple more corners for the end of the half, but just weren't able to really do anything with them, which is disappointing because this season Halkett and Finlay have been all over these corners and Hearts have scored more set pieces than anyone else.
Also, the ref blew 5 seconds early. Hearts were on the attack.
Yeah, Hearts were about to get...
I wrote this down. I circled this thinking, see if Celtic get the win here. I'll be all over that. I'm still all over it. Ain't no doubt about it. No, seriously, why is he blowing it early though?
Don't know.
I seen a game last night, Liverpool-Brentford. I don't know if anybody watched it. The referee was just adding on time to Liverpool scored. I've never seen it before.
Tell you what, Rodgers was Chris Boyd was off his rocker. He said Celtic dominated the first half. What half was he watching, by the way? Neil Lennon's the best pundit in that studio.
He was getting Sutton told.
Neil Lennon's impartial. I actually like Neil Lennon. I don't mind him. I know that's controversial and I'm not supposed to say that, but he's alright. I don't mind him.
In terms of impartialness, he's definitely one of the best.
I like the way he was getting stuck into Sutton. James McFadden, he's just a Sutton ass licker. He's like a puppet. I mean, Sutton may as well have his ass up have his hand up James McFadden's ass.
He was calling Chris Boyd and he was calling the other Chris Prick borderline. It was fucking great. But anyway, second half 2-1. Kizarides, bottom left hand corner. I mean, it's awful defending.
Great finish though.
Great finish.
Kizarides cuts in.
Dane Murray, it's almost like he pulls the leg out of it. And Schmeichel's going ballistic. He's like, well, what's going on? But it's a great finish, but you can't be allowing the shot to get away here.
No, but he done well. I think he came in, got past Nygren. I mean, it's not like Nygren's let him get the shot off. Nygren's attempting to follow him, but Kizarides, took a couple extra touches and opened up the space, got the shot away. Dane Murray, yeah, it looks like he could potentially maybe stick a leg out, but does he maybe...
But people are going to go, we didn't back Rodgers. They gave Rodgers a £6.5 million centre-back last season.
And Rodgers didn't trust him?
Literally.
Didn't they trust Trusty?
Pun intended. Here, we've seen enough of Trusty to suggest that he's better than Dane Murray. I think we would agree.
Although I did see Dane Murray play like a game a few weeks ago or a month ago and he looked alright. Who was that
against?
I can't remember, it was a while ago. But
he didn't look alright today, that's all that matters. Anyway, penalty on Braga.
Yeah, but you know what? Do you think Schmeichel is overly angry here just so it makes up, so people take the attention off him?
What do you want him to do with this goal though?
Well, not a lot, because it's placed into the bottom corner. But I think Schmeichel's shite.
No, but that's why he's fuming, right? It's not like the guy was marked and he still put it bottom left. They gave him all the time in the world to put it bottom left, and that's why he's angry. So I feel Schmeichel's pain, and it's fucking delicious. Anyway, penalty on Braga. Who brought him down? Was it Dane Murray?
Dane Murray again, aye. So Dane
Murray's had a bit of a shite.
Yeah, Dane Murray not having not having a great game. I mean, but
Chris Sutton hanging on to far by its coattails here.
I don't know. I know you weren't. I don't think you were overly impressed with him. I think Braga's great. It's like I think his ball control. It's almost like I feel like when the ball comes, it's like a magnet. I think his control.
No, he was good, but I thought he was still quiet.
See, any time a ball's played up to him, whether it's to his feet or whether it's to his head or his chest area, I think his first touch is great. He always seems to bring the ball down, and he's got close control. And I'm not going to say he's like Lionel Messi, but you know, if I had to compare one player in Scotland, if you say to me who's the closest to Lionel Messi, I probably would go with Braga.
He floats.
And he stings like a bee.
Aye, and
floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. So yeah, first couple of touches, takes it into the box, looking dangerous. Doesn't go for the shot. You know, it takes another couple of touches. Maybe goes for like a feint shot, and then he just tricks Dane Murray into diving in. Dane Murray doesn't get the ball, clips him. Braga goes down. We get a penalty check, and eventually the penalty is confirmed. It took a while, but I mean, I think it was always going to be a penalty.
Look at the way Tony Bloom's getting on with Hearts fans, and then compare it to the Tellwell and friends.
Yeah, Tony Bloom looks like he genuinely cares.
I mean, they're actually chanting Tony Bloom.
Well, Rangers fans chant towards Thelwell and Patrick Stewart as well.
Well, it's no good chance. But Shanto makes it 3-1. Had to score.
Good penalty. Schmeichel guessed the right way, but right in the bottom corner. Just the same as the Kasarida shot, right in the bottom left-hand corner.
He had to score this because this just puts a blanket over it. This just calms everything.
I remember saying that if Hearts didn't score that would have felt like an equaliser for Celtic.
It would have. Thankfully, it felt like a goal for Hearts, though. Right, we've then seen a few subs. It's funny, they pointed out how Alan Forrest doesn't even get on the bench for Hearts, but James Forrest
is coming on to rescue from 3-1 down.
Yeah.
And I think that shows you the difference between the two teams.
No, it does. Now, we're not saying that Alan Forrest has a better career than James Forrest, right? We're not saying that because obviously that's not the fucking case. But the point is, in 2025, you can clearly see one direction that Hearts are going in and one direction that Celtic are going in, and it's relying on a guy that's best years were about a decade ago.
No, definitely. Alan Forrest might still sporadically make appearances for Hearts, but I would suggest that Alan Forrest days of being a regular starter or even making regular appearances from the bench, I would imagine that they're probably over. And I wouldn't be surprised if Forrest moves on within the next year or two.
Yeah.
Whereas with James Forrest, I mean, Celtic are still relying on this guy. I mean, kinda even thought he might have started. I think Forrest would have started the day if Celtic didn't pick up the win in the Champions League. I think Brendan just went with the same front three because they got the win and he thought, well, I'm going to continue doing that. But speaking of staying with the same front three, I believe this was the 5th game in a row that McInnes had a non-changed lineup.
Yep, and he made it 9 wins out of 59 against Celtic, and that's all that matters. But Egu, he has a shot saved, probably should make it 4-1. This would have been the icing on the cake.
I still haven't seen a lot from this guy, and I know he hasn't played much, but Andy Halliday thinks he's a player. Marvin Bartley said he's some player.
Well, he's done more than Shamiti.
Well, that is true. That is true.
When it comes to these guys that are record or close to, this guy's done stuff.
I mean,
same with the guy at Hibs. Clincy's not done much.
No, he did give the ball away, and that allowed Celtic to go on a counter, but it wasn't really bothered. We had
we had a few chances. McGowan
with a shot. McGowan had a good shot that just wide. Looked like it was in. Schlow was getting down. I don't know if he would have had it saved or not, but it was a good shot for McCowan.
And then Engels, he had one wide.
Yeah, Engels' shot looked more out of frustration though, didn't it? McCowan's shot was the end product of like some decent passing and a nice wee build up for Celtic, but the Engels shot was kind of just we're running out of time here.
And then had Shin, lovely touch, lovely flick. Hits it on the volley, and then it gets blocked.
Yeah, honestly, this could have been heading in. We don't know. It looked really, really good.
Would have been a nervy 2 minutes.
I believe it was Halkett that got the block. Right. Great block. Halkett and Finlay also getting yellow carded within like 10 seconds each other. Not sure what for. But for me, I think Yamada looked better than Kenny in the short space of time that he had on the pitch. And that's the notes getting ripped up, guys. And you know what? That might also be Paddy Power ripping up the bet slips here.
They must be fucking... They could be a lot of money.
They could be. They could fucking be.
No, because see if you factor in the amount of people that are going to be betting Hearts, coinciding with the fact that, well, Celtic's... not looking good for them.
See the fact that they've paid out for Celtic, though, they should end betting. I don't think they should be doing any more bets.
Well, to be honest, I haven't looked. Maybe they have just...
Or maybe they don't have a bet market for it.
Maybe they don't, yeah.
What sense would it make, though? What sense would it make?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't make any sense, especially since you paid it. But that is it, guys. Hearts 3, Celtic 1. Beautiful Sunday so far.
I mean, we had an Engels free kick. Delivery was fucking bogging.
The stadium.
£11 million for him. Not good.
But like I said,
what was the passing like as well? Some of the passing scales. He had a few passes that were just thought Hatate was poor, McGregor poor. I mean, everybody was pretty poor in the game.
Based off the 11 though that Celtic put out, it did have an element of like Hearts need to win this because that's a weak Celtic backline, and they did, and they passed it with flying colours. Another test passed, and next week, midweek, obviously, who do Hearts play midweek?
St Mirren.
Away.
Yep. Massive game.
But if they get through that, then the weekend, I think they play Dundee at home, and Celtic are in the cup, so therefore Hearts could be 11 points clear.
Look, I'm not being negative, but I think today's result almost means that even if you did draw at St Mirren, you've got the 3 points in the bag today.
Yeah.
Because you ain't going to win every game.
No, that is true.
No, but what I would say is, let's say Celtic won this game today, that St Mirren game, it's like, holy fuck. You have to win that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying that Hearts shouldn't be looking to beat St Mirren, but I think going 8 points clear takes a bit of pressure off them. But if Hearts can win their next two, they're guaranteed to be at least 11 points, at least.
And that going into an international break. Honestly,
that international break could be the worst thing to happen to Hearts. So.
See, we could be looking at a situation. I mean, that Old Firm semi-finals must win anyway for both clubs. We are looking at a possibility that Brendan Rodgers
loser gets sacked. Or sack him.
Yeah. And I know Danny Rowe. People are going to be like, no. If Danny Rowe loses the next 2 games and then goes into El Sakio's right, could be looking at 2 new Old Firm managers coming to this international break. Although I don't think Danny Rowe's. I mean, if you had to pick one to get sacked, I'd have to go with Rodgers just due to the fact that Danny Rowe's literally in the job. But
let's look at some of the stats then. So Celtic had more possession, 65 to 65%. But in terms of shots, Hearts had 12 to Celtic's 8. And in terms of shots on target, they had 7 to Celtic's 2. Touches inside the box, Hearts had 37 to Celtic's 21, so almost double. Schmeichel had more goalkeeping saves to make. Just in general, I think Hearts were the better team. Looked more dangerous.
The worrying thing is that Celtic just didn't come out in the second half. They didn't even begin to play. They began having shots when they were 3-1 down, and that's pish. You can't be doing that.
True, but I do think Hearts ended the first half stronger team as well.
They did. No, they did. So over the course of the game, Hearts definitely deserved to win. Don't many people can dispute that. First half was even. Second half was all Hearts, and what that leaves you with is a pretty nice jam tart. So Hearts 3, Celtic 1, beautiful Sunday so far, may I add. Rangers have the opportunity to close the gap to 5 points. What have Hibs got the chance to?
We've got some comments here and we'll read them out in a minute. But guys, if you want player ratings, here's the deal. Give us a super chat.
Aye.
One super chat.
There must be some happy jambos out there.
One super chat, doesn't care how much, and
if you want to see all the Hearts players
get 10s
and all the Celtic players get 0s.
A super chat, that's all it's going to take. That's the price of admission.
Aye.
Pay it and get in.
Aye.
We're not asking for 8 rising to 10 million for Schmidt. We're asking for
a Honda Civic. We're just asking
£2, mate. £2. If you want to add a 0 to it, by all means do it. That'll buy a wee.
What's Brendan Rodgers
That'll buy a wee ornament for the West Wing.
Say?
Right. Well, first of all, we'll talk with. We'll listen to Shankland and Cammy Devlin. I believe that Devlin got man of the match.
I would get it to Karasidis.
I think it was Devlin that got it, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, Shankland had the following to say, quote, whether we're sitting in the table...
Whether we're sitting in the table or what was Lauren Shankland?
Where we're sitting in the table, we've earned that. You need to be at the top of your game to get a result, but I'm really pleased with the performance. We've had a terrific start to the season. We just need to keep looking to pick up the 3 points and keep doing what we're doing, end of quote. And Devlin says, quote, we were so disciplined the whole game, we stayed narrow, we stayed compact. It was tough. They're top players, international footballers. They're the reigning champions for a reason. You've just got to work as hard as you can. It was a tough battle, but just happy to win, end of quote. And he was also asked about his little tussle with Callum McGregor. I would have liked him to dive into it a bit more. Just come out and say, he's an overrated prick and I put him in his place. But nah, Cammy Devlin, he never said that.
That's a knife, mate.
That's what I said.
Crocodile Dundee. Me and Cal, mate. We go well back, mate.
But, no.
We're used to playing by each other now, mate.
Anyway,
Brendan Rodgers, what's he saying?
what is Brendan Rodgers said? Oh, we've got some news coming in for you. Ibrox, Diomande and Danilo are in for Rangers. Leons starts for Kelly.
Schmidt in the back of the Honda Civic.
Well, let's see what Brendan Rodgers had to say. He says there is comfort in that there's so many games to play, so it doesn't look like Rodgers is worried yet. He thinks there's still a long way to go in the season.
But who's going to be playing them? Kiss Kamara? Is it going to be you, Rodgers? You're managing them?
Anyway, he went on to say, he told BBC Scotland, quote, disappointing result and performance. It's a disappointing day. We go behind in the game, show a good mentality to come back, score a good goal. I just think we gave it away too easily. We've got to do better with the second goal. He likes to come inside, he likes to shoot. And then we make the mistake for the penalty, so all of a sudden it's 3-1. It's a game we should take something from, but we didn't do enough. Dane Murray, the young players, you have to be exposed to the pressure. We're needing these players. Dane makes the own goal, was then a little bit rash for the penalty. It's something he'll learn from.
We picked them, Rodgers.
We need to find a way to be more consistent. It's still so early. It's only 9 games. The comfort is there's so many games to play. We know we can find a consistent set of games. There's still so many points to play for. End of quote.
No, but look at Celtic, folks, right? They're conceding goals and they're not scoring many. That you cannot you cannot win leagues with that.
No,
with that recipe, you cannot.
Rodgers also added that injured forward Dyson Maeda will take part in training tomorrow, and Cameron Vickers will undergo surgery on an Achilles injury. So
yeah, but look at the last
bit of good news. Maeda returning, but
look at the last couple of games, right? 3 against Hearts, conceded 2 against Dundee without reply, by the way. Conceded 2 against Motherwell. We're talking. I mean, concede that against Kelly.
Well, BBC Sport just posted the following fact. Hearts were 8 clear in 2005-06. That is one of the 4 occasions a team has failed to win the title, having held such a lead in the past 27 years. What I would say is, Hearts did sack their manager, George Burley, who was top of the table, and they brought him in with Graham Ricks, and the least said about that, the better. But that was a sabotage.
Yes, but also that Celtic team is better than this Celtic team.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's fair to say Hearts through it. I mean, who knows what would have happened if George Burley remained in charge that season?
If Derek McInnes gets sacked and Tony Bloom goes bankrupt, then maybe
and brings in Russell Martin, then we could be in trouble.
We can have that conversation about Hearts' capabilities this season, but
yet to hear from Derek McInnes.
So I think we'll just leave that for the fans react.
You think he's on the drink? Derek McInnes.
I wouldn't blame him. I'd be on it. He went round every Celtic backroom staff and shook their hands. So I mean, well done. I don't think he'd have done that if they lost. But anyway, we're away to watch Aberdeen Hibs and rip the piss out of Celtic some more. So until next time, peace.
He's been running on fumes for weeks, and now he's finally ran out of gas. Welcome back to Fog Football. Breaking news. Did not expect this. Brendan Rodgers has resigned as Celtic manager, and Martin O'Neill is returning. So you got a shock with Brendan, and then Martin O'Neill's in the door. Thoughts on that, Jambo Bear?
Brendan Rodgers, he's pulled the sports Range Rover over to the side of the road, he's opened the door and he's made a run for it. He's realised that this car isn't good enough to get him to the finish line. Hearts are miles ahead and he has bottled it. What an absolute loser. He's fucking bottled this. No respect for Brendan Rodgers whatsoever. Fearing that he couldn't do the job, probably fearing Rangers next week as well, and he's left the club. That's embarrassing. I'm going to do my 3 years. And just when the going gets tough, he runs away back down south. That's pathetic of Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, I think it's pathetic. People always talk about, he's seen off this guy, Soon as he gets...
Dennis has seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Yep.
Danny Rowe has seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Danny Rowe.
David Gray seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Stephen Presley seen off Brendan Rodgers.
Right enough. Stephen Presley beat Rodgers in the sack race.
I mean, imagine that. Unthinkable.
The only thing worse than getting sacked is actually quitting. At least, go down on your shield.
Yep. Now, a club statement reveals Rodgers offered his resignation, which was accepted. So, it doesn't look like he was coerced into this. It looks like Rodgers has simply went, no, I can't hack it. I can't hack the Jambos. I can't hack Danny Rowe. I can't hack Davy Gray. I can't hack Stephen Presley. I'm away.
Yeah, but I mean, let's actually be serious for a minute. Let's say he did resign because he wasn't happy with the transfer window, or he wasn't happy with the funding.
Should have done that in September.
Him doing that, yeah, no, he could have done it earlier. But if he'd done that and Celtic were in a healthier position, you could be like, well, fair enough, because maybe his goal was to make a dent in the Champions League, and they've not done that. But domestically, they're a shambles. He's run away 8 points behind Hearts. You can spin it whatever way you want. How much money does Celtic need to spend to be putting in a title fight? You know, I'm not. They didn't spend 50 million, so they can't beat Karat. They didn't spend 50 million, so they can't beat Dundee. You know, saying that you can argue that the transfer window maybe it led to their demise in Europe, even though they should still be beating Karat. That's what I mean. It's not like you've qualified for the Champions League and just not lived up to last year's expectations. They've been fucking shite on all fronts, and this guy has just walked away.
Yeah.
He's walked away. Walking away, the Celtic way, the Brendan way. Done it twice now. It was the first time he done it, he had a bit of success behind him.
I mean, people talk.
To me, this makes his titles irrelevant. He's walked away 8 points behind. I think that is unforgivable.
I mean, people talked about he might resign if he drops points to Falkirk and then he loses to Rangers in the Cup. I didn't expect this. I didn't even expect him to do it then, but I can't believe he's walked away. I mean, I'm actually bewildered by this.
People can't spin this and pretend, look, Rodgers is doing the right thing. Still can't blame the Celtic board. They can't say, Rodgers walked away with his head held high. No, he's walked away trailing Hearts by 8 points. That's what he's done. Yeah,
I mean, Yusuf Shermiti scores a goal and Brendan Rodgers just wants to bail. He couldn't hack it.
Yusuf Shermiti has seen off Brendan Rodgers.
I mean, how many? I've never seen so many people see off one guy, but I mean...
We need to get Shermiti dressed up as the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, Martin O'Neill with Sean Maloney as the new interim managerial team. I'll be honest, I didn't want that. I wanted Brendan Rodgers on Sunday. I didn't want Martin O'Neill. I mean, I can't even... I was listening to Martin O'Neill on TalkSport about 4 hours ago, talking with Jim White, talking about how shite Rodgers is. And now we're sitting here talking about Martin O'Neill in the hot seat. What the fuck's going on?
You say that, but let's say Martin and Maloney come in and they do a good job in the meantime during this interim period. Is that not just making Rodgers look even worse?
Yeah, I would agree. Is there going to be a bounce? Is it? But I mean, I think there is going to be a form of bounce. If
there is a bounce, so that would suggest, it's not just all down to the players, and it's not just all down to lack of investment for the board. If we do see an improvement in the Celtic team, in the style of play and the results, then Rodgers is going to have to be the one to take the blame.
And does this increase the pressure on the Celtic board? Are fans going to be calling out the Celtic board on Wednesday? What's that going to be like? Because I mean, there's a lot of people that wanted Rodgers to stay, or at least liked them until a couple of games ago.
Yeah, they can call it what they want. It doesn't matter what happens now. Rodgers has lost the title.
No,
Celtic could come back and win it. Celtic can come back and win it by 50 points. Won't matter a shit. Rodgers hasn't done it. Rodgers has lost the league title to Derek McGuinness, and that's a fact. That's factual.
No, you're right.
8 points clear, and he's bottled it.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Celtic. Who knows? Maybe they will still come back and win the league. I'd say they're probably still favourites, but I mean, Brendan Rodgers, he can't take any credit for that because he's looked at the gap and he's thought, I ain't going to turn this around. And why would he resign? See, if he had faith that he could come back and win the league, he would see it as 3 years. Resigning, I mean, he's not going to get his money. He would see it as contract. He would see it as promise that he made to the Celtic fans. It would add an extra few trophies onto his CV, and it would help him get a better job in England.
Tony.
For me, this has left his career in a mess. How can he walk back into a Premier League job now, leaving Scotland, 8 points behind Hearts?
I can't believe he's resigned. Just for all those reasons. Because it's not just Celtic's career season he had to save. He had to save his own. And I don't see where he goes now.
I think rather than being a man and potentially losing the league to Hearts over 38 games, I think he's taking the easy way out and now he'll always be able to say, well, I left in October. Well, for me, you didn't leave, you've just conceded the league title. That's what he's done.
Speaking of easy way out, remember Rocky? No easy way out in the Lamborghini. What's Rodgers?
There's no easy. Well, I mean, Rodgers was no driving a Lamborghini at any time this season, I can tell you that.
Nope, he will not be, but yeah,
Although
folks.
the speed that he left Celtic, maybe, I don't know, maybe he was driving out of Glasgow one because he couldn't get out there quick enough.
If Celtic fans want to claim that Ange seen off Gerrard, who was sitting points clear of Ange, then everybody is seen off Rodgers here, especially Derek McInnes and Tony Bloom. It's crazy. I don't even. This.
No, honestly, all joking aside, Rodgers has been down in my estimation.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that shat it.
But what is sad is you're going to have a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of Celtic fans that come out and back him and say it's not his fault. They're going to blame the board. But at the end of the day, Rodgers is the one that's quit. Rodgers is the one that didn't feel he was capable.
The first time it truly got tough, he's fucking bottled it and shat it.
Yeah, it's mental.
Like because they're 8 points behind in an injury crisis. Other times, I mean, yeah, Rangers overtook them at a point 2 seasons ago. They were like a point ahead, but that was a fight. I'm not saying this ain't a fight, but he's 8 points behind, and yeah, he's fucking shat it, man. There's no real excuse in this. And like you've said, he's been doing your estimation. I think he's been doing a lot of people's estimation. I cannot believe we are talking about the guy resigning. I could not fucking believe it when I seen it. I was like, what? And then Martin O'Neill, after how many years out of management, is back?
Crazy.
20 years after his first Celtic spell. And what is it with Celtic just getting guys for a second spell? Lennon, Rodgers, Martin O'Neill now. Ange will probably be next. What the fuck's going on?
Do you think Ange could be the man that comes in?
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe what people will say is Lennon should have did this during the COVID season. He didn't, and they had to sack him before. You could argue Rodgers could go down as a hero if Hearts turn this season around, but for me, I think he's going to go down as a shite bag.
Yeah, but you say he goes down as a hero.
Well, it depends.
If Ange comes back and wins the title, it's fucking Rodgers hasn't done nothing. Rodgers has walked away.
Yeah, no, I know. I wonder what Chris Sutton's thoughts on this now that big.
I mean, Chris Sutton, he'll blame it on recruitment or Chris Boyd or something. He certainly would hold Brendan Rodgers accountable.
Yeah. I mean, Martin O'Neill, I can't believe it, man. I mean, that is fucking insane, by the way. That is. I mean, Rodgers resigned this. I mean, if Hearts can't win the league this year, then what can they do? I mean, it's fucking. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. Crazy.
The only thing, I mean, it could be a negative for Hearts, so if Celtic get the right appointment.
Well, no, I totally agree, but I don't care. Even if Celtic do get the right appointment, that team is still. It's not. I don't think it's just going to be an easy fix. There's still injuries. But at the same time, it'd be hypocritical to say a new guy couldn't do anything because we've been saying for weeks now that Rodgers has not done a good enough job. So we'll have to wait and see. I would expect Martin O'Neill to do better than what Rodgers has done recently, but that's because there's been a lot of defeats and draws recently.
But Martin O'Neill, he's been at work for a long time.
Yep, Sean Maloney.
Andy's old. I mean, is he not like in his 70s now?
Yep.
We're not talking a guy that is fresh and I don't know.
Dermot Desmond released a statement. Jambo Bear dying there. Dermot Desmond said, however, I must also express my deep disappointment at the way the past several months have unfolded. So he's not happy. Oh, that's what he says about Brendan. When we brought Brendan back to Celtic 2 years ago, it was done with complete trust and belief in his ability to lead the club into a new era of sustained success. Unfortunately, his conduct and communication in recent months have not reflected that trust. In June, Michael Nicholson and I expressed to Brendan that we were keen to offer him a contract extension to reaffirm the club's full backing and long-term commitment to him. He said he would need to think about it and refer, yet in subsequent press conferences, Brendan implied that the club had made no commitment to offer him a contract. That was simply untrue. We met with Brendan regularly, including in December last year and at the start of the summer, with regular dialogue in between to discuss and agree our collective strategy, priorities and approach. Every player signed and every player sold during his tenure was done so with Brendan's full knowledge, approval and endorsement. So, again, I think we're looking at a situation here. Could it just be a simple case of the board didn't want to back him because he wasn't willing to re-sign, and they're both
That's what it seems like.
they're both at blame. They're both. I'm not saying. I mean, you can put whatever percentage of blame you want on whatever side, right? But you cannot blame the Celtic board for not spending money on a guy that's not willing to commit.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of Celtic fans have been saying they're unsure about this. They were unsure about this January transfer window because Rodgers was, going to be leaving at the end of the year, and they didn't think Celtic were going to spend money. But
Yeah.
if that's the logic you're using, then you could say that, well, why maybe the Celtic board they were perhaps reluctant to spend big money in the summer because Brendan Rodgers wasn't committing his future for the club.
Yeah.
So perhaps they didn't want to go and make record-defining transfers for a manager that was maybe going to go and lead them.
I tell you what,
In the following year. So it goes both ways. Like,
Dermot Desmond.
see if Rodgers committed to see if Rodgers in June signed a 3-year extension or a 2-year extension. I'm convinced Celtic would have had a better transfer window.
Yeah, I agree, but Dermot Desmond has absolutely fucking blasted this guy. He talks about, I might need to make a separate vid on this because there's a lot to get into, but he talks about, they met for hours at his home. Rodgers, despite ample opportunity, he was unable to identify a single instance where the club had obstructed or failed to support him. The facts did not match his public narrative. Regrettably, his words and actions since then have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. They have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fueled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. Some of the abuse directed at them and at their families has been unwarranted and unacceptable. What has failed recently was not due to the structure or module, but to one individual's desire for self-preservation at the expense of others. So Brendan Rodgers, maybe this is the board playing the blame game, but they are fucking going in on Brendan Rodgers. They are not hanging about here. They are pinning the last few months in this season so far on Rodgers. There's no two ways about it.
I mean, you could argue that if the board felt this strongly about Rodgers, then why didn't they just sack him?
Yeah. But, I mean...
So, listen, I don't think anyone's resolved of any blame. To me, I think all parties can take some responsibility.
Yeah, I mean...
But if the board feel like Brendan Rodgers has been such a detriment to the club over the past few months, then why did they let it get this bad? Why did they let Brendan Rodgers come out in public and basically, according to them, lie and throw the board under the bus?
Now, we talk about boards, right? And I've talked so much about Tellwell, right? And they spin the truth and they spin narratives, right? But I don't think that Dermot Desmond is making up that he went to Rodgers' house for 3 hours and that Rodgers was unable to come up with a single instance or example where the club failed him or obstructed him. That sounds true, and it seems like I've got to lean with agreeance with the Celtic board here. It does look like a guy that's tried to self-preserve himself, but while attacking the board.
No, I agree.
Because if Rodgers didn't, because he was talking in press conferences about, they're signing guys I don't want. Recently the Honda Civic, all that good stuff, right? If he was coming out and if he just agreed to a deal, none of this would have happened. And honestly, if you're looking at someone that was funneling this like toxic atmosphere, he's one of the guys that was doing it the most. He was the one having a go at the players.
He was the one peddling it.
Yeah, so, folks, I might need to do a separate vid in this Dermot Desmond statement because it's very fucking long, but I just pinned a few things from it there, but I think that's pathetic. He's right, though. If Rodgers was bashing them in the public eye, and then when they're having private meetings, he's unable to come up with one example
or or one instance, I think that's embarrassing. That does scream self-preservation.
And well, to be fair, Brendan Rodgers can. I mean, if he wants, he can call Desmond's bluff, and he can come out and he can publicly give one example now.
Yeah, we could be looking at a war of words. Either or. We've seen Rodgers throw the board under the bus, and he's began in recent weeks to throw the team under the bus. And I mean, he talked about how many signings he didn't want. Oh, they're Celtic, they're club signings. They're not me. They're board signings. But Dermot Desmond's contradicted that by saying every single signing in and out has went through Rodgers. And I mean, Boyd's been saying that for weeks. That everybody that Celtic sign goes through Rodgers. While at Rangers, it's not doing that. It's going through like Telwell and co. So who knows, guys? There's going to be more fallout to this. But yeah, Rodgers has resigned.
Well, Brendan Rodgers is the manager.
Yep.
Rangers are a head coach.
Yes, that is the difference there. Anyway, Martin O'Neill returns. I think we'll talk about that at a later date, because I mean, it's just fucking blew up here. Dermot Desmond has went right through Rodgers.
On the fucking, I don't know what, barely speak. On the discussion of manager, head coach, I think I prefer the manager template. I definitely think a manager should be the one that is bringing in his own players. Not a big fan of this whole head coach role. Even though it's working well for Hearts right now, Dave McInnes is top of the table, but yeah, I think history shows. But yeah, maybe we need to move on with the times. Maybe we are going in a direction now where...
No, history does show, but I think with the Jamestown analytics, if they've got analytics that prove that these guys are good for Scottish football, then that makes sense. But when you have boards that don't have a clue, Rangers, i.e. Rangers, then it doesn't work. Anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there.
I know, I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm obviously growing up in an era. I remember watching the Premier League. You've got Fergie and Wenger fighting for the title. I just couldn't imagine those managers just having to accept random players getting thrown into their team.
Yeah.
You know, because those guys they were so adamant on the type of players that they wanted, and they had their own market that they would go into, and it's just, I don't know, it's strange. But yeah, I guess it works for some clubs. Maybe it doesn't work for other clubs.
No, we'll end it on this, because I think this is hilarious. When I was listening to Martin O'Neill on TalkSport, he said Hearts would win the league, and now he's managing Celtic. So, I mean, how the fuck is it? How's that? Yeah, and I say this morning he was on it fucking in the afternoon. So how's that happened? Fucking absolutely crazy. Anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. Desmond. Yep. This Ryan118 said about Dermot Desmond. Fuck that rat cunt Desmond. By the way, horrid bastard. Get out of our club. So that's a nice wee thing there for Ryan118 about Dermot Desmond. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it there.
Soy Boy 118 there. I knew he was going to lick Rodgers' arse. I mean, he was always going to defend Rodgers.
It was always going to happen, brother. Anyway, till next time.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's sharing a taxi with Rodgers leaving Glasgow.
He might be. he might be. It's a Honda Civic he's sharing. It's a Honda Civic.
Dermot Desmond said he went to Rodgers' house for 3 hours. I'm sure Ryan118 would probably want to stay the night. But anyway, I think we'll end it there.
We'll end it there, guys. Till next time. Peace. Dermot Desmond has unleashed nuclear warfare on Brendan Rodgers. We'll come back to Fog Football. There's a lot to get into, so let's not waste any time. Alright, this is insane. Now, in tonight's earlier video, hell, this might be getting uploaded in the early hours of the morning, who knows. We talked about a few things that Dermot Desmond said about Rodgers, but we're kind of going to go through the full thing here, because honestly, it has to be... I can't recall the last time I've seen a statement from a board that has blasted a manager like this. Like, it's actually insane. Like, I've always said, I mean, hell, we've had enough... Rangers have had enough managerial statements, from the board in the last few years, where it's the cookie cutter shite, but to actually see a board just go through a manager it's mental. So we're not going to waste too much time. So yeah, we'll dive into it. So essentially, in terms of anything that was good that Dermot Desmond had to say about Rodgers, it's pretty much his highlighted bit. So he goes on to say he announced his resignation. I want to acknowledge his contribution, 2 spells as manager, success, massive parts of success in the club's modern history, yada yada yada. But from this point, it turns mental. So, he says, however, I must also express my deep disappointment at the way the past several months have unfolded. When we brought Brendan back to Celtic 2 years ago, it was done with complete trust and belief in his ability to lead the club into a new era of sustained success. Unfortunately, his conduct and communication in recent months has not reflected that trust. In June, both Michael Nicholson and I expressed to Brendan that we were keen to offer him a contract extension to reaffirm the club's full backing and long-term commitment to him. He said he would need to think about it and refer, yet in subsequent press conferences, Brendan implied that the club had made no commitment to offer him a new contract. That was simply untrue. We met with Brendan regularly, including in December last year and at the start of the summer, with regular dialogue in between to discuss and agree our collective strategy, priority, approach. Every player signed and every player sold during his tenure was done so with Brendan's full knowledge, approval and endorsement. Any insinuation otherwise is absolutely false. So, Brendan Rodgers, he's been offered a new deal here by the board. There's been countless talks since last December, and there's also confirmation here for Dermot Desmond that Rodgers, every player sold, has been done with Rodgers' full knowledge, approval and endorsement. And not only every player sold, every player signed. So every single in and out, Brendan Rodgers has had something to say on the matter, right? So, to me that's weird, because months ago, when Celtic signed a few people, Rodgers were kind of referring to them as board signings and not manager signings. So, someone's right, someone's wrong. Anyway, moving on. His later public statements about transfers and club operations came entirely out of the blue. At no point prior to those remarks had he raised any such concerns with me, Michael, or any member of the board or executive team. In reality, he was given final say all over football matters and was consistently backed in the recruitment process, including record investment in players he personally identified and approved. End of quote. So again, like record investment, that's more on the 24-25 campaign, but he still spent that money. But I think the interesting part for me is up next. When his comments were made publicly, I sought to address them directly. Brendan and I met for over 3 hours at his home in Scotland to discuss the issue. Despite ample opportunity, he was unable to identify a single instance where the club had obstructed or failed to support him. The facts did not match his public narrative. Regrettably, his words and actions since then have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. They've contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fueled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. Some of the abuse directed at them and at their families has been unwarranted and unacceptable. Every member of the board and executive team is deeply passionate about Celtic and acts at all times with professionalism, integrity and a shared desire for success. What has failed recently was not due to our structure or model, but to one individual's desire for self-preservation at the expense of others. End of quote, right? And I'm not just saying this to kick Rodgers while he's down, right? Because there's no reason for me to back up the Celtic board. But that's what it looks like. It does look like self-preservation, right? If Rodgers is bashing the board to the media, right, in the public eye, and showing this public narrative against the board, and that there's all these issues, right, and that Dermot Desmond then goes to have a meeting with him for 3 hours, and Rodgers can't bring up a single instance / example of where the club had failed him or obstructed him in their ways to support him in the transfer window and beyond, then you've got to look at Rodgers just spinning his own narrative to get an exit for the club. This is insane to me, right? People hate the board. Some people hate Rodgers. But for a guy looking for the outside in, who can't stand any of them, alright? This looks like a guy that refused to sign a deal. The board are then thinking, well, we're not going to back you if you're not going to sign a deal, because we can't commit to that. There's no point giving money to a guy that's not going to be here next year. And because of that, that's weakened the Celtic team, which has made Rodgers head out for the board. And the reason, I mean, it's just crazy. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like Brendan Rodgers has spat the dummy because they've no backed him, but the reason they're no backing him is because he's no signed the deal. And to be honest, folks, if a manager's leaving, you totally understand why they're not going to just absolutely throw money into Brendan Rodgers and give him like another 40 million or whatever to spend if he's not the guy that's going to be there for the foreseeable future. At the same time, I'll welcome the argument that the board should have sacked him. They should have done that. Instead, I mean, the rumours were, I was seeing rumours earlier that they were thinking about sacking him and he's decided to walk before he gets sacked, which I think is pretty interesting. But again, the board essentially, you can look at it, are they showing loyalty to Rodgers by not sacking him? Because they could have sacked him back in August and went, well, guys, we sacked him because we do want to spend money, but we don't want to spend money on a guy that's not going to be here. Which I think most people would have took as an acceptable reason. But at the same time, you can't let a contract negotiation / beef between the manager and the board like hamper the future of the club, and that's what's happened. So yeah, and it does look like self-preservation at the expense of others. It looks like Rodgers is trying to keep his name in a good light while throwing the board under the bus. But here, the board are still a guilty party in some aspects, but I can totally understand why they didn't back Rodgers if he wasn't willing to commit to a deal. I think anybody that's... If you can just take your Rodgers tinted specs off, I think anyone can grasp that. Right? I think anyone can grasp that. Now, it does go on to talk about a few other things. Let's see. Celtic structure where the manager oversees football. The chief executive managers... Hold on. The chief executive manages operations. The board provides oversight and has served the club with great success for more than 2 decades. We all share the same ambition to ensure Celtic's continued success domestically and to achieve further progress in Europe. Every pound generated by the club is reinvested towards these goals and the continuous improvement of Celtic Football Club. Celtic is greater than any one person. Our focus now is on restoring harmony, strengthening the squad and continuing to build a club worthy of its values, traditions and supporters. End of quote there for Dermot Desmond. That is the end of the statement. No two ways about it. I mean, he's went through Rodgers, and yeah, I mean it's a sticky situation for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean I'm going to stick to my opinion, guys. And it just looks like the board have refused to back a guy who's not willing to sign a new contract, and it's spiraled out of control from there, and it's became a bit of a blame game. But what I would say is that's what the board have got to say. The board have pulled no punches here, but that's my opinion. And the way they've went in on Rodgers, I mean that's what I'm thinking though. If the board truly didn't spend because of Rodgers, they probably would have said that here, because like I've just said, they've literally pulled no other punches. I mean, if this was a fight, Rodgers, it'd be done. It would have been done like 3 seconds into the match. I mean, maybe Rodgers is preparing, running on the beach with Apollo Creed, right? He's preparing for the next fight because he's probably going to bounce back with a statement of his own. But I don't really know if Rodgers if it's going to be the more or whatever. But all I do know is Dermot Desmond has went fucking nuclear on Brendan Rodgers, and yeah. I mean, all this at like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock into the next day. Crazy. Absolutely insane. No one expected this. I mean, honestly, when I heard people talking about, oh, he might resign if he loses to Rangers, I thought even that was a pipe dream. I cannot believe this has happened tonight. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Brendan Rodgers has resigned. Some people think he's a hero for doing it. Some people think he's a card. What side of the fence do you lie on? Till next time. Peace.